Heck's Virgil.
What's that?
So where the heck's Virgil?
He had to run to Concord, so he said he might be a little late.
Oh. Oh, first one says anyways.
Right, we close. Oh, yeah.
You're all set.
We on? We're on. All right, we're going to call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. There we go, on the chime, on the first chime. The first thing we need to do, appoint alternates. So I'd like to your motion to accept Mr.
I'll
Hillsgrove.
move to put Lee in as an alternate for this evening,
Okay.
As a full voting member,
as a full voting
Okay.
member, yes.
can you just officially call the meeting to order?
What's that?
Can you just officially call the meeting?
I
to
did
order?
call it
did.
to order.
I'm sorry.
It's at exactly 6 p.m. on the first chime.
Matter of fact, his
One
last
day.
word was coming out as the chime hit.
So sorry.
He got it. Yeah.
So do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, you're on.
Thank you.
The next on our agenda was the election of the vice chair. I think we can bump that. No need to jump all over that right now.
Let's wait till March.
There is that. Okay, and then the agenda. Have there been any changes to the agenda?
Yes, so can I just clarify? Do you want to bump that out to March? Is that like
Oh,
your
no,
official?
I don't care. If that's,
Do we want to? Because you
that was
just have
just
February, you just have January and February.
yeah.
I may not make February, so
Where are you going?
somewhere warm. So let's put it on
Understand
for
that.
January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the following changes. So changes that were made to the agenda after it was posted include that are not on your agenda, under other business, 1C, which I'm gonna pass out later on tonight, is for the board to review and recommend a planning and zoning consultant warrant article to recommend to the Board of Selectmen. Also included is 3B, which is for the board to discuss and approve an application for Jill Hauser. She's requested to sit on the master plan committee. C is a letter dated the 15th of December, 2021 from John Dever, code official, to the planning board, which I actually would like to move to the beginning of the agenda under the public hearing for zoning amendments, number 1. Since he'll be here, he can just discuss that letter while he's here. Okay. The last addition is 4B, which is a memo dated December 14th, 2021 from Mike Vignali, who's a town engineer, regarding the October 13th site walk on Ridge Road. And everything else, that's it.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to accept the agenda as amended.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, next, public hearing and zoning amendments. So that explains why that was on the top of my package.
Yeah.
From Dever.
It's all in order.
But why don't we, do you want to hear from Mr. Dever on that first? Gotta find it now.
It's on the top of the list.
I know, but I put it in order.
Do you want my copy to look at?
Ah, that's right, I'll get it. I'll get it. I know what it's about. I read it. So John, you wanted to talk about the decision on the septic
Yeah,
requirement that we-
I'm not, when I read it and heard about it, I wasn't very comfortable with it. Board asking it for a expansion of the septic system. Requiring a plan be done for expansion of the septic system. There's this the septic system is there is new, literally 2005, which is not old for a septic system. And given the circumstances as I understood them, there really was one person in the house. They're not actually operating at the level that it's not a full salon. So they're not doing washing and those types of things. So they're not putting that type of usage on the system. So fortunately, it appears that the lot will support support that, but in some cases that wouldn't be. And it's my opinion that the board didn't have the authority at that to require that, but
They've done it
difference of
before.
opinion.
So, but that's,
Okay.
whatever it is, it is.
So I think, the board's position was, first of all, I believe that the dwelling was, other people were living there on and off. There was the issue renting out rooms at some point in time. But what's to say that there won't be a full family in there in 2 months, making full use of the septic designed for a 3-bedroom house. And now you still have a hairdressing operation going on. So it seems to me that the board made the correct move in making sure that the septic could be designed and fit onto the property for its maximum potential usage, as opposed to saying, well, we're going to change the classification to a 1-bedroom house with a hairdressing salon or a 2-bedroom house with a dressing salon. So my opinion is I think the board did make the right move. There may not be precedent, as you allude to, but I believe you said there is. But I don't know. And it's just, I think my opinion is the board made the right decision on that. How do the rest of the board members feel? Or
It's obvious how I feel. I was the one that made the motion. So,
Yeah, it seemed to make sense to me in that the house could, with a number of bedrooms, it could be occupied, and it has been. And then there's a business on top of that. Didn't say you got to build the thing, just
Right.
make sure that it could accommodate it. And that was it. And the applicant seemed to be okay with it. So.
Fine.
okay,
Well, I think probably chances are she was fine while she was sitting here, but probably when she went home and started getting prices, she probably wasn't that fine. The only problem with getting the new plan, it's spending the $1,500 and then another $300 to the state. So close to $2,000 for a plan. It's only good for 4 years. And then you got to do it all over again.
But if it was done and
Well, then
approved,
then you only gotta do the
then you have
300.
then you have a precedent. You can, reactivate that. You don't have to go through the full 9 yards to do it. But, I hear you.
But I mean, if
I
it
hear
is,
you.
if it is a 3-bedroom house, you gotta consider that first. You can't consider her saying, well, I'm only using 1 bedroom.
Right.
right.
If it is a 3-bedroom, it's a 3-bedroom. So, I mean, unfortunately, you have to go with that aspect that it,
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, thank you though for,
Yeah, thanks, John.
so zoning amendments. So did submit an official notice of public hearing. I guess I don't have to read everything, right? Just notice is hereby given. The Alton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on right now, Tuesday, December 21st at 6 p.m. The Alton Town Hall to consider the proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance for the 2022 ballot vote. And we have the kind of a quick summary is on these sheets, and I don't know if everybody here gets copies of this,
So
the actual public.
That was posted.
The
That
posting.
was actually posted in the newspaper, and it's been around town, and there's a copy on the table if people want to take a look at it.
Okay.
They're everywhere.
So there are copies up there if you're interested. So the amendment number 1, and I'll just run through each one of the amendments, a real quick, overview. is to amend Article 200 definitions, seasonal cabin and seasonal use to include a winter season, and to amend Article 400 zoning districts regulations, Section 401D 44 permitted uses, table of uses, to allow seasonal cabin in the rural zone by special exception. Amendment number 2 was to amend Article 300 general provisions, Section 328 B, C, and D regarding the height restrictions to allow an increase to the minimum height of boathouses, canopied boat slips to 20 feet by special exception.
Can I just clarify one thing? That's the maximum height.
That is the maximum height.
Yeah, you said minimum.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Maximum heights. Sorry.
Yeah.
Currently it's 15 feet and we're saying you could go for a special exception to get it to 20 feet, which is the state limit. Amendment number 3 is to amend Article 300 general provisions to add a new section, Section 364, lots in 2 or more zoning districts. And so this was a kind of a clarification when you have a zoning district line that,
Goes through the middle of a lot.
yeah, it goes through the middle of a lot. I was looking for that
Bifurcates.
bifurcates. Thank you. Great word.
Or runs partially, runs through the lot in some fashion.
So just a way of addressing that. Then amendment number 4 is to amend Article 400 zoning districts regulations, Section 401A5 permitted uses, table of uses, to strike garage, workshop, or shed and insert non-habitable structure. So it coincides with the definition already listed in Article 200. So this is a lot of housekeeping going on is what this is. Amendment number 5 was to amend Article 400 zoning district regulations, Section 401D14 permitted uses, table of uses, to strike or repair shop. Remove that from that list. Amendment number 6 is to amend Article 400 zoning districts regulations, Section 401D45 permitted uses, table of uses, to strike or warehouse. And last was amendment number 7 to amend Article 400 zoning districts regulations, Section 401D49 permitted uses, table of uses, to strike the travel trailer park. Those words kind of get us up to date a little bit. Does the board have any?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, on the A14, the amendment number 5, I think the way the notice went out, it says building trade or repair, and then shop was not crossed out, but so it should be crossed out.
On
Well, we
amendment
left it
5.
So it read building trade shop.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah, it should just say,
Okay. Okay.
Anything else from the board? Any other comments? It was a good catch, Russ.
Yeah. Nice job.
Okay. Any other comments from the public?
So I went back to 5, so now I'm rereading
Oh, all right.
it. And so you take out repair shop and it says building trade, parentheses, excluding barge loaded associated with building trade use. What does that mean?
I think the intent was to just take out repair, so you have building trade shop.
Right. Take out the words or repair.
Yeah. So that's to leave it as building trade shop
right,
is the intention.
Oh, but wasn't Russ just saying to take out
Right.
shop?
So he's reading from the public notice,
right.
this page, on amendment number 5, I accidentally included the word shop.
Ah,
So building
so
trade
it's correct
shop.
over here,
It
but
was-
just, that was just an error over here.
Right.
Okay.
So when the warrant articles are written up, it'll be written up correctly.
Oh, so it will be building trade
Trade
shop.
shop.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Correct.
Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. I couldn't make the other
Okay.
go without, okay.
All right. So no comments from public or,
We probably should formally open it to the public.
no?
To just say open public input.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
No problem.
So I
I just
open
wanna
this
be-
now to the public. How's that?
This is really important to be procedurally correct.
Yeah. So I'll open this now to the public and does the public have any comments or
Questions or anything?
questions, anything? Seeing and hearing none, I will close the public input session. So do we have any other comments or changes or anything that we are concerned with? And I would not consider that word accidentally being listed as substantive.
No,
No.
it's not.
Oh, can I make a motion to say that we vote on proposing the amendments as presented at this public hearing for a ballot vote in March?
Did we officially close public hearing?
Yes, you did.
Yes,
We
we did.
officially, okay.
I will second that.
Yeah, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? I think that was unanimous. Okay,
Well, thank you.
Go west,
Right.
young man, go
Yeah.
west.
thank you.
Some of it seems minor, but it's important.
Right.
Yeah, those cross Ts and dotted Is.
That way my eye doesn't twitch when I start looking at something.
Thank you, John.
Have a good night,
Thank you,
sir.
John.
See ya.
John.
Good night. All right, next on the agenda, final road approval, case P 03-07. Tom Barney, acting as agent for Patricia Scribner, excuse me, map 16 lot 19A Laura Lane. So this is a final road approval subdivision. You guys have your paperwork in front of you here. Great background done on this. So is the board reviewed this? Do they have any comments on this?
So as I understand it, looking at outstanding issues, the only thing that remains to be completed based on inspections and everything is the asphalt rubber chip seal coat, and there's been money set aside to cover that.
Right, so the money hasn't been assigned yet, so that's sort of what, part of why they're here tonight to request
And it was an
the board
estimate,
to,
right?
right, to approve that.
And then that money would be placed in, if we approve it, they place that in escrow.
Correct,
And then the road would be approved, and then it'd have to, but it wouldn't finally be approved until that's done, right?
so that would be a condition of approval. So
Yeah.
you would potentially give your final road approval tonight on the condition that they're
On that
going to,
condition, yeah.
right, put that money aside in escrow, and that everything, is good come the springtime. It gets done, the town engineer goes out and inspects it, make sure everything's all good to go. So if if they receive final road approval tonight, then they have the opportunity to petition the selectmen and sort of get that
To accept
process to accept the road, right? So they can start working on that, sooner than later.
So I have a question. The dollar amount, the 13,608, does that include the town engineer visit to go back and do the final verification?
No, so that
There should be an escrow for
13,608 is just the estimate.
Just the
Yeah, just the
estimate?
estimate. For the
So there
asphalt
would
road.
be
Inspections
additional
would be
costs
escrowed.
incurred.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and that's what I put down on the conditions precedent. So I included the submission of funds to be posited in the escrow account. Submission of funds to be determined by the town engineer to be deposited into an escrow account for warranty, security preparation. His construction observation when he goes out and use the road after that.
Yeah.
Is sealed. So yeah, listed out that section.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
Yeah, I'm looking down here on on page 2 of the 3 of actually the thing down to the the poles outside of the right of way easement. That really doesn't make much difference because when the co-op does that, they get a blanket easement to the property. And they can put poles wherever they want to, not confined to the easement because of how they lay out. So I just don't see that as an issue.
Which one are you addressing specifically?
On November 3rd, 2020, the emails.
Page 3
Yeah,
Page 3.
Yeah.
of.
down about a third of the way,
Jessica's,
maybe a little over a third of the way
analysis.
on November 3.
All right.
Right away easements on Cherry Valley Road not shown completely.
Yeah, I got it.
So the co-op takes a blanket easement to the whole property when you first start, and then they probably can confirm that. And which that is co-op feed up there, I believe. Yeah. And so I just don't see that as an issue about being in or outside of the roadway easement. Because sometimes with corners involved, you know, the tile company does the layout themselves. So that's what they do. And then they charge you for what they lay out.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't that depend also whether it goes on to somebody else's property though?
No, there's an easement because there's a lot of times that sometimes let's say there's a pole here, you want to go around to this lot and underground to this lot. Well, you have to cross this guy's property line to get to the lot. And that's why the blanket easement is there from the co-op. So all this work can be done.
Because I know public service, you have to get permission to go up and down.
If you lay out a new system, a new road, this is what this is. It's a new road. This is an existing work where they haven't got easements, but they do have easements on this when they put the system in.
Okay.
That's the difference between old work and new work.
So I think
Gotcha.
though that is kind of a past at this point.
Okay, yeah, I
And
just
I think that we're down to really only the wear code here that
Then I'm good.
Yep, and there was an email submitted from Scott Kinman, who's the DPW director, that agreed along with Mike Vignali that, you know, if you were to approve this tonight with the money in escrow, that was like acceptable process.
Do we know the warranty surge security amount yet?
I don't at this point. Just wanted to make sure that, you know, the board approved it and then we can kind of, you know, go through that process.
I always worry about those because sometimes they come in a little heavy.
Hey, Virgil.
Hey, Virg.
Board acknowledges Virgil McDonald is here. So Tom, do you have anything you want to add or?
Yeah. I'm with Pat Scribner, the owner, and our son, Ralph. So in October, we had a meeting on the site with the road agent and the town engineer, and we identified improvements to the asphalt, the road that needed to be done. 2 of those were repairs of low spots, which they did. And I was
Page 3.
observed by the town road agent. The third item is the chip seal. So they're asking tonight if we can keep the process going by getting approval from the planning board, then we can go to the selectmen and deal with their requirements, which would involve some of this work.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're doing here. That's the summary, but some of this asks to go 18 months. This is an existing road that's 14 years old. It's not a new road that was built in the normal process as the road is done in a year, 18 months time is to hold it for 18 months to see if it settles. This is selectmen's thing where it's a more of an older road that's being accepted, that it's not going to settle. So I can understand you would want to have the engineer inspect the chip seal. We could let the selectmen tell us what we have to do. You could simplify this by just saying, we'll turn over the money for the chip seal, 13,000 plus.
Yeah, I think it's in our regulations though, to, at this point in time, when you're requesting for the acceptance of the road, that we are supposed to get the warranty as well. I don't know if there's any call for exception to that.
What did we do at Hopewell?
At where?
Hopewell Point Road,
You guys requested the bond to be put down.
and we need to be consistent.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree with their philosophy
Right.
completely.
I-
I want to be very,
yeah, understand where they're coming from. No question about that.
but if we've done it for one, we've got to do it for everybody,
Right.
unless we change the rules.
That has some other things to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something.
If you could just move your microphone right in front of you. Yes, thank you.
Back to the August 14th, 2020 letter. We completed all of the requirements then. Then the town of Alton changed road agents. So everything was fine with the original road agent. Then you bring in a road agent from Center Harbor, I think. And he thinks, oh, it would be great to chip seal it. Well, that wasn't even part of any conversation ever.
I'll speak to that. I think we need to revert back to what the plan said of construction. If they call for a rubber chip seal, then put rubber chip seal in it. Calls for a 1-inch wear course, then a 1-inch wear course goes in, because that's what was approved by the board. Personal opinion.
So what?
So what was approved was chip seal.
If that's what it was.
That's originally.
If that was the original.
No,
approval.
no,
No, it wasn't.
never came up, was never even spoken about.
Oh, it's binder course and 1-inch wearing course. That's it.
Then, as far as I'm concerned, the 1-inch
what it
wearing
should be.
course needs to go in and not the chip seal. Shouldn't, we've got to enforce what was approved.
right.
And since the road agent has other ideas, that's all well and good. He should come here and change the rules. So when these roads are designed and laid out, then they're done that way.
So what you're saying, Scott, if I can, is that right now it's got a base course on it.
Right.
And.
Most likely 2.5-inch
and
base.
through discussions, a chip seal was decided on, and that would be to finish it off. But what was approved was another inch of,
A wearing
wearing
course.
course.
It's not like a sand.
so, and we'd have to reverse that approval of the
Why
wearing.
would we have to reverse their
The re-
approval? That's what was
To go with
approved.
the chip- To go with the chip.
To go with
seal.
the chip.
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
agree
we would have to change the way we're doing it, and other subdivisions are required to have the wearing course, right?
Right,
Right.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
what's approved on the plan should,
I have no idea what, I've never,
Well, you put down a wear coat.
yeah, but I've never put down rubber chip seal. I have no idea what that
but
would
if the
cost.
plan was
Well, it's
approved
spelled
for that
right out.
road
Yeah.
with a 1-inch wear cord,
Then that's what goes.
that's what should be stuck to.
Right. I don't
The
think
approval, when
anybody
it was approved.
other than this board has the right to change
Do
that.
we know, do we have the original approved drawings or?
Oh, I'm sure there's somewhere.
Yeah, I have all those here. There's
Yes.
standard. A road is 2 inches of bind and 1 inch of the wearing course.
Right.
That hasn't changed. The chip seal is repairing roads.
Right.
Could be a dirt road or it could be
Well, even
it's ground up or
even to make that base coat last longer, they go over it with the chip seal
Yeah.
to get a few
the
more years out of
grader
it.
patch.
So I'd have
I don't
to
think
agree
we
with the
have an
board.
option to change personally.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I guess I jumped to the conclusion that since it said chip seal was required, that was the original design, but
I all the time I've been here, which is what, 13, 14 years on the board,
Never used
I've
it.
never seen a rubber chip seal come through on an initial thing. 10 years, they may want to decide to do that. And if the town owns it and he says it feels he needs it, then that's up to him to put down whatever he feels like.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got to go by what the approved
What
plan was.
what we approved, yeah.
Just a question, is the condition of the road now, which is the base course only on it, right?
Oh, no, that's a weird course.
It does.
Is
have
the wear course on?
Yes, it was all signed off by CMA engineers. It was all done. Everything on that road is done as
So
good
there's a
as you
wear
could
course
do it.
on it. So what you're saying, in addition, what Scott Kimmon is saying, hey, this thing is cracked.
Maybe you
a
need to see
bit,
something more.
And it needs a little bit more on top, which is a chip.
That
seal.
wasn't
Is that right?
outlined here in
No.
the,
Okay, so the road was built and it has a wearing course on it. And they went out and inspected it and it has some cracks, so it needs a chip seal on top of it. He's recommending that before we recommend to the select.
Yeah, but we don't know what he's looked at unless he comes in.
Well, it's all in the documentation.
Right.
So is a chip seal, is that little black line they fill the crack with?
No.
no,
No,
that's
that's
crack
crack
seal.
seal.
Go look at Bonnie Road over in New Durham. They chip sealed that whole road.
With rubber.
It's a rubber chip seal, yeah.
All right, it seems to me that the engineers and everything went out and said it needs something more because it's been sitting there for so long. That it needs to be sealed up. So maybe that's okay. I don't know.
Because I know the crack seal, that's like 2.5 inches wide. That's an accepted practice, but if that's been done. Yeah, okay, on the whole road.
Right, so-
Unless there's not a size of piece of concrete any bigger than 4 inches, then I think if there's cracks here and there, then every road's gonna get cracks here and there.
Right.
The idea is to keep the water out from underneath it, because that's the depth of it.
But it also, so we've got binder wear down. Repairs were made to the wear course. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
And then the engineer looked at it and his recommendation was for the longevity of this is that we do the chip seal.
Yes.
Was
So-
that the engineer or the road agent? We should be clear on that.
Yeah, let's,
It was the road agent.
Right.
This is
So-
different.
Road agent.
So
Yeah.
Kenny didn't have a problem with it, but when the new road agent came, then that's when the problem.
Right, when Ken was there was no problem with, Jessica was there, there was somebody from KV Partners there, everything was fine. We did everything we were supposed to. And then in comes your new friend.
So can I speak to this, please?
Yeah.
So back in August, when we did review the road, that was with Ken at the time. And back in August, that was with Ken
Yeah.
August of last year.
of 2020,
Right.
correct? There were some questions about the condition of the road back then, because it was in 2007, November of 2007 was when that final wear coat was placed on the road. So from 2007 to 2020, it deteriorated, which was why they went out and had to review the road again and, came up with a punch list of items to fix.
That takes on it. See, I was under the impression that the wearing course was not down yet.
Yeah, it was on it,
When
but
I
it's
made
such
that
an
comment.
old road now
So
at
if
this
there's
point.
additional problems with the road, then that's up for discussion.
Right, so those issues got taken care of, and the only thing remaining was you know, what Scott wanted him to do was put on the rubber chip seal, but that's not in accordance with his approval. So now we're going back to the putting on that 1 inch.
Yeah.
Wear course.
No, where course is there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just old now.
It's just old,
Right.
right? And it's 14 years
Cracks.
old. You know? Good question.
Well, I think it's kind of, they built the road in accordance with the approval. And it's been repaired, the crack sealed and stuff. I would think it's up to selectmen to decide whether they want to make them put a chip seal on it or not.
I agree. Pass the buck.
I think it's great. I'd do that in a minute. Yeah. No, because otherwise we're gonna have to open this whole thing up again
Right,
and
right.
go through a whole
And they've-
process.
And they fulfilled
Yeah.
the engineering that was laid out for the job. Whether it's subpar now, I feel that, see, I thought this was all waiting for the wear course. So since it's subpar now, I think they could be.
So it's really, I would think that the selectmen would take the advice of the road agent and the engineers, but that's up to them whether they want to accept it or not. The road was built according to the way it was approved. The only thing is just never got accepted. It just sat there for a long time. So I think that they should, they did what the planning board asked them to do originally, so they should be, goes on to the selection.
And I gotta bring up Hopo again. I mean, they're kind of like the same age, aren't they? Pretty much.
But
Probably, yeah.
Hopewell,
I'm
yeah,
not sure
probably.
Hopewell's had all the crack sealer put on that, so where is that in this whole process? Should that have been chip sealed? Did it,
Well,
or do we not have a new road agent at that time?
this is the road agents and the engineer's suggestion, okay? But as far as we're concerned, they've met the requirements, I think, of what their original
Right.
approval was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so I think we should accept it, and then the selectmen will decide what to do with the road agent's recommendation.
That makes sense because they have met
Right.
the design intent.
Just to be clean, you don't want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
start
no.
making stuff up, so.
So,
Right, so can we just go over the conditions precedent that I had included into that plan of review? It's on page 4. So we can just clean this up. So they no longer have to submit funds for the asphalt. Rubber chip seal.
For us, I would say,
So you can,
Correct.
right.
Right,
cross
the
off
that's
number
what
one.
I'm hearing.
and you need to pass on these notes to the selectmen,
Yes.
Yeah,
so they're really up to speed.
yep. So number 2 was the submission of funds to be determined by the town engineer to be deposited into escrow account for the warranty security preparation. So he'll prep, the amount of a bond.
Yep.
Or
So-
cash.
Technically, right now, he would not have to go out and do construction observations and prepare a report after the road and asphalt rubber chip seal has been completed. So that can be crossed off.
Yeah, that would be up to the selectmen
Yeah.
to,
Right.
this whole set of things that you've got here can be transmitted to the selectmen for their consideration.
Yeah, I think we're narrowing down to really only the warranty.
Right.
Okay, so things that just have to do with that warranty. Submission of a bond or letter of credit. Okay, so I crossed off number 1 and took out the preparing the report. Anything to do with that asphalt rubber chip seal.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else from the board? Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, on case P03-07, final road approval of road construction. I move to approve the road as presented with conditions precedent
Yes,
and to move it on to Board of Selectmen, or I don't even know if I need to say that, but I'll say it.
You say that, but I think it's the conditions precedent as modified.
As amended. Thank you.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
We should have the public.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, you can
Yeah.
work in public.
you need a warm vacation.
I do. So yes, so I'm sorry. Open this up for public comment. Can you come up and just say your name into the microphone and
Hi, I'm Valerie Tarbell, one of the residents, probably the last of the resident on 4 Laura Lane. Yes, and we're one of 4 houses. We were the last house in there. And the road is it has every crack this summer was filled. If you walk it right now, anything, they had done that. So as far as cracks are concerned, but is there a way that the selectmen can be recommended by this board to approve the road? I mean, we're sitting there with, all of us are over 65 that live up in that area. We're there. We've seen school buses come up there from the town of Alton to make that circle and come back down and go back into town. I know they're supposed to use the triangle up at Guilford, but the buses have Alton has a hard time doing that. Now, I know it's a subsidy company that is going up there, but at the same time, even if the road, I mean, we kind of said to them, hey, this is a private road and right now we're paying for it. So with the big buses up there, we're a little nervous, but the bus goes up there and it's easier for him because it's a big turnaround and he can make the turnaround with the bus and come back down for the town of Alton. We also have fire engines that kind of make the turn up there as well. So it's in the best interest that maybe we recommend it from here, that the selectmen also approve it.
Well, that's part of, when they send this letter up to the select board, we take all this information and then we review it up there. And that is pretty much their recommendation. When they're done with it, then we take it.
Okay,
so we're essentially recommending that the road be approved.
okay. That would be good. And so does that mean we get on the next agenda or do we have to wait till the end of the
You have to make an
springtime?
appointment.
We gotta-
with the Board of
right.
Selectmen.
Okay,
Put
You-
a request.
You
they
call
they
it-
would do that, right?
Yeah, Tom knows how to do it.
Sorry, Tom. Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time
Sure.
and
If you don't want the
recommendations.
school bus there, call the bus company and say, please don't.
Well,
turn
you
around.
know, we did mention that, because I have a feeling what
Bike
happened
strips out.
was that the bus driver kind of found, oh, here's this cul-de-sac that it's great to turn around in. And because he said to us, it was, and he told one of the gentlemen here that it was easier to make the turn because if you see that triangle, what is it? Not Glidden Road, what's the one?
Reed Road.
Reed Road,
Yeah.
it's a tight turn for a bus. Okay, because I know Guilford sometimes does it too. And at that point, I don't mind it. I mean, because who knows, one of these days there will be kids up there that the bus has to come up into. But it's there,
I'm
it's,
surprised there's not kids already up there. on
I'd be
Reed
willing
Road.
they walk down to the end of the street.
with the mailboxes.
Yeah, that's how that will fly.
But I mean, it's a good road. We were under the impression that in the town of Alton, once there were 3 houses built, that the road would have been accepted, which is why we also bought.
It has to be petitioned though, to be
Right.
accepted. They just don't take it automatically.
No, but I thought that, like I said, that this was all part of the procedure. So we're kind of surprised it's taken this long to have everything occur when the other house, Carol's house, she's also here. Most of us are here from, out of the 4 houses, 3 of us are here. And that when Carol's house went in, it would have been petitioned. And I think you did start the petition at that point to put it in.
Well,
So-
this is the first we've seen of it and we
Okay.
dealt with it, so.
Yeah. And I
This is the
appreciate it.
second
I'm
time.
very interested in hearing this. So-
Second- First time they had to
Pardon me,
be
second
repaired.
time. It's
Second
been-
time,
second
yeah.
was the repairs, right.
Okay.
Yes, it has.
Okay, so, but that's why I said I didn't know if it would be recommended by you guys, so I'm asking, being new to this.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? I'll close the public input section. So we have a motion, we have a second.
Well, there was any questions. We had I thought we had the motions. I just have a question.
Yeah.
More of a, because Scott was saying he didn't know if he needed to say recommended to the, all we're doing is saying that qualified the process.
They've
They've met the
completed
design.
everything the planning board wanted.
We're not recommending it.
No,
We're
Right,
just saying
so
they
the-
completed the.
Yeah,
No,
those
but-
are my words then, and I misspoke.
And the way we take these, once the planning board says, okay, they've done everything
That they were
that
supposed
what they were supposed to do, then we take that more or less as a recommendation.
right, because this process is different. So say back in 2007, the Scribners, you could have come in 2007 to receive final road approval. You didn't have to wait until
Right.
you had that 50% build out to petition the selectmen. So the two processes sometimes get intermingled into one.
Okay,
Right, any further discussion? So we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There you go.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
What's that?
Absolutely.
That's very important.
Old business?
People to do site.
Yep. Take care. Yeah, Good, good.
Explain it. Any board in town to do them. I'll explain it under when you get to old business.
All right, that may be something that we want to, I think, instead of pursuing that in public, maybe we need to do that through a memo first and let the
Yeah.
board and the
However you
town
want.
council.
That town
chime in.
council, it's on the ballot as a warrant article. We're trying to change it.
Okay. All right. All right, next case is P 21-21. This is a design review continued from November 16th meeting. This has to do with Hodgson Road, major site plan, residential rural.
Hodgson Road is the one that runs from
Right across straight from,
Gilman's corner, runs down.
oh, it runs right across from Whispering Springs. Bowman Road. Bowman Road.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Thought that was Upper Marion. No, it's not Upper Marion. There you go.
So I have extra flag size copies of plans if you're interested in looking at one.
I've got it on the
Okay,
on the
if you're
computer.
interested. I have one.
It's good. You got it?
My portable binoculars.
Okay, so this was the boat self-storage, right?
Well, self-storage.
Self-storage.
That's right, self-storage, that's
Can
right.
accommodate boats. if they
Right, we had to
want.
get the boat out. Right. You gentlemen like to introduce yourselves and give us a presentation?
Absolutely. Scott Lawler from Norway Plains. Associates here representing Jeff Hertel and Van Hertel Senior on a design review for a major site plan located at tax map 15 lot 9-3. It's an 8.32 acre parcel located in the rural residential zoning district. As you indicated, it has frontage on Route 28, Miramichi Hill Road and Hodgson Road. This lot is vacant, although it had some logging operations clearing last summer at the northern end. Wetlands and test pits were performed by Adam Doran, certified wetland scientist and certified soil scientist. The Hertels are proposing two self-storage buildings. One building is 35 by 140. The second building is 45 by 140. Net around 11,200 square feet of rental space. Each building will have essentially 7 20-foot wide rental units in the building. We're proposing a 50-foot wide paved access in between the two structures. To gain access to the facility, we are proposing a 24-foot wide paved driveway off of Route 28 in the location formerly known as Hodgson Road. Since back in September, we received planning board approval for issuance of a building permit on a Class 6 roadway. And we have submitted a NHDOT driveway permit application for the upgrade of the intersection of Hodgson Road and approximately 230 feet up into up the Class 6 roadway. From that 24-foot wide paved roadway, we will have a 24-foot wide paved driveway onto the site. Taking the recommendations of this planning board when we were here for design review in September, we've reconfigured that intersection as depicted on the plan here to be more of a T intersection to allow and accommodate the fire truck being able to turn and act around in. The changes we've made to the site plan since September were some minor adjustments to the stormwater management system to address the town engineer's comments. The stormwater from the development will essentially be captured, directed to a stormwater management treatment consisting of a sediment forebay, a pocket pond, and a discharge. This facility will not have any employees on site. It is a 24-hour access facility. Because there are no employees, we are not proposing any parking spaces associated with the use. There is, however, ample room at the end of the site to accommodate site maintenance. Mr. Hertel or his assigns to go up there and do routine maintenance around the buildings. This, because the building won't have any employees or any office, we're not proposing any water or sewer connections to the facility. There will be no trash allowed to be stored, so the residents or the tenants need to take them out with them. So there are no proposed dumpster storage. We've provided the board with a lighting illumination plan showing downcasted wall-mounted light fixtures. And we've also amended the site plan application packet to include a landscaping plan per the recommendations of this board, showing some trees to be planted along the berm of the stormwater management system in an area where the existing vegetation between the development and Route 28 is thinned down to help provide a little additional screening. We've also got some landscaping shown around the proposed sign that'll be installed on the applicant's property at the corner of Hodgson Road and Route 28. With the exception of the NHDOT driveway permit application, which has been submitted, there are no other state permits necessary for this project. With that, either myself or Mr. Hertel will entertain any questions. We are seeking to move from the design review component to site plan approval pending your recommendations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I appreciate, all the additional information provided and filling in all the blanks. One of the things that jumped out at me was your lighting plan is indicating these wall packs mounted at 16 feet above finished grade, and I think that your wall heights are only 12 feet.
Doors are 60. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying, Mr. Chairman. We can have the lighting analysis adjusted to lower those down.
Yeah, I think it's going to change your lumens out.
Luminance, yes. Although I still suspect that there'll be zero at any property lines.
I really should have brought my reading glasses today.
And we're trying also to have the color of the light 3000K or lower.
That in the
Because
light.
that's a warm white color versus that stark daytime. The lumens is still the same. It's just the color of the light.
Okay. Yeah. So can you, there seems to be you talk about that very large area paved that goes beyond the buildings. What is the intended use of that?
The intended use of that, Mr. Chairman, is that in the Hertels hope to come back in front of this planning board for a third building And that access, that will provide the access to that third building. I should note that when we prepared the stormwater management analysis and applications, everything that was submitted through the town's review engineer, we took into the account of this future building such that when, if the hotels decide to move forward with that building, the stormwater management system that's going to be constructed will already be sized accordingly.
And we can see a silhouette of that.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Page
that's
C1.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just a question about the drainage. Proposed pocket pond, it discharges through a spillway. And then there is riprap outlet protection. So all of this will be discharged to the ditch line of Route 28. Right?
That is correct. And then
So do you need to have the state know that, or?
as part of our application to DES, we provided a stormwater management report similar to what was provided to the.
Yeah, because it
town.
would be, to me, it would like increase the amount of water that's going to go along the edge of the roadway. So they'd want to know that it wasn't going to damage 28.
Right. When our report was prepared, we analyzed it to ensure that we did not increase the rate of discharge.
Oh, rate, okay.
Yeah, so that we'd met the
That's good.
town requirements. So even though we are directing more there because of the way the site is being developed,
Mhm.
less water that, to make sure we match the pre and post design flow rates.
So that pocket pond will dampen that for you.
Correct. It attenuates the peak of the rate discharge.
And then what sheet do you have that has the trees, the landscaping on it?
Should be L2, which was the second
It's
to
like
last
second
sheet.
to last or third to
Okay.
last.
I'll go down here. I can zoom in on it here. Okay. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you have a business name? Do you have any
It'll probably just be under
signs or
the,
anything or?
it'll probably be under, I'll probably just blanket it under hotel investment properties, doing business as hotel self-storage. Same as the other business. I'm not positive on that, Jessica, but
Yep.
that's. probably what's
Is
in
there
All
any
right.
reason you wrote down 12 square feet for sign?
That's the maximum allowed in the zoning
Yeah.
district.
Oh, it is, and that just, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was 24 feet.
Whereabouts would you have that sign located?
It's right down by the edge of the road. You can see it. It's
Yeah,
depicted.
it's on the landscape drawing.
Oh, is that the proposed sign? Okay.
Yep.
All right, I see the stop sign. Okay, all right, now I know.
It was 24.
What's your approach for fire protection on this? There was, I think, cisterns or something shown, or
There is no proposed fire suppression. The size of the units don't warrant it.
okay, is that another one I was looking at?
You
then?
saw the fire department recommendation?
If not,
Was it real quick?
You probably had that like back in June or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll address a little bit in the fire department here. A master key, the Knox box. That's not going to get them in every unit. They're private personal padlocks on those things. So you got to get the fitsalls out and.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, if you have a local office on site, that will only be the thing that helps you out. because other than that, they won't, none of that Knox key won't go anywhere.
Yeah, and the only power to the buildings is for the lights.
Right.
The tenants do not have use of electricity inside their units.
There'll be lighting inside, obviously, as well as the exterior. No,
Just
not
exterior
even a
lighting.
light inside the building.
No, it'd be just like the buildings I have now on 28.
I'd like to have some clarifications about the fire departments. The building has a maximum length of the dead end corridor that exceeds 50 feet. Where is the dead end corridor mapped?
That's,
Because no matter how you cut that, it's over 50 feet, and I don't think these would warrant a suppression system in there.
So I must be missing the fire department comments.
It's on this one right here,
It's,
very last page.
The back page.
looking for a whole separate sheet of paper.
well, these buildings are 200 feet, right? 140 feet. he said.
Yeah, 140.
He's saying they're 200, egress more than 200 feet.
The egress is 200. That means you're way out.
That's
Yeah.
if you're inside the building, but
Okay,
that's when they mean
if that's what they mean by
the
inside.
egress is more than 200 feet. When you're inside a building and it takes you more than 200 feet to
Right.
exit the building, but in this
You ain't
case.
gonna have that.
You're not gonna have
You'll be
that.
right
Everybody
there.
has their own,
Door.
and there's gonna be a big hole in the wall to get
It
out.
says
And-
by
and the-
travel path,
And
not
the
direct
maximum,
line.
and what they're saying about the maximum dead end corridor, that would be physically a corridor, like a hallway
Hallway,
through the
right.
building. And we
Okay.
do not have that, so
I just was worried about it. They interpreted it as roadway corridor.
no, it's inside the building corridor.
Right, and just to note, at that time, the fire department didn't have any building plans or elevation views or like
Okay.
anything to refer to.
Yeah.
So that's probably why some of these may or may not make
Apply.
sense at this
Understood.
point, just to point that out.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just point out one other thing.
Sure.
I just wanted to just discuss really briefly something, and I'm trying to come up with some sort of solutions to thwart this in the future, is the logging operation that took place before you came in for your site plan approval. Tricia and I, my secretary, were trying to come up with some solutions to help assist applicants to be aware of that ahead of time. Because if you're not aware of that ahead of time, then you log your operation or you start other projects, not knowing that that's in the set of regulations. So I just wanted to, kind of bring that to the attention. So we've decided that we're going to discuss things with the assessing office, because that's where you would go and get your notice of intent to cut. And maybe came up with some sort of cheat sheet of regulations, if you're coming in to
The
obtain
town
a,
forester will go out and
yeah.
measure the stumps. They'll know how many
So
feet they-
trying to come up with a solution to that, to try to help applicants in the future when they're coming in for their permits, to try to,
that's
make
a-
you
that's a
aware.
common faux pas.
yeah.
It is.
So I just wanted to address
yeah.
that. I realized, that you stated that you didn't know that was in place. So,
Right.
our mission is to try to help applicants, obtain the proper information, I
Sure.
guess.
That's great.
My other comment is I think the landscaping is a little light, to say the least. I think there could be a few more efforts put into that. I get concerned about, the green giant arborvitaes, because those are something that, they look great for a year and
Until the deer eat them.
the deer eat them, then they're gone. Right. But,
Well,
um,
consult a landscape architect and see if we can't come up with a suitable.
I guess the thing that we're just trying to achieve is try to make it as invisible as possible from the road. I guess that's,
That's what you're, I know, that's what we want to achieve and you want to be
Still a
seen.
business. I want to
We
be seen a little
understand
bit,
that. And there's a compromise in there somewhere.
Absolutely. Because it's still a business.
It's still a business, yeah. So. And does the board on the lighting plan, and I don't mean to harp on lighting, but it does happen to be one of my things that you're basically down to 0-foot candles at the entrance of your driveway. So you don't pick up any light until you're 2/3 of the way up that driveway. Your sign, you do not intend to light your sign, or do you?
Hadn't really considered it, to be honest with you. I don't think it's imperative to light the sign.
No.
I wouldn't be opposed to putting some kind of lighting up Hodgson Road if we could figure something out with the electric company to mount something on the poles.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a positive for my business and for the tenants as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I'm not opposed to that whatsoever.
Poles
And
right
if we do
there,
that, maybe
perfect
we will
spot.
light the sign if we do that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not
You can
interfere with the
just, you can
highway.
just lease
Right.
a street light thing from there. And they
That's
just put it
what I was thinking.
Every
They could-
month on your electric bill, you just pay whatever they say and.
Yeah, I mean, it's 150
But
feet up
they maintain
the
it, you don't have to
road,
worry
so.
about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Good to know, Scott. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that's a necessity anyways. Yeah.
We'll
Yeah, it'll
add
be
that-
right there in the corner, so
Yeah,
it would really hit the button.
Yeah.
We'll add that to the light.
Okay, and there'll be no outdoor storage, so
Outdoor storage is not allowed in.
no
the rural residential.
RVs with flat tires.
Nothing. Nope.
Good,
Nope.
good. Well. Okay, does the board have anything else? Any other?
Yeah, I mean,
Something.
one of the things that Jessica suggested was look at traffic. I think this is not a big traffic generator, I don't think.
Yeah,
And it would really,
I think DOT will handle all that.
DOT would handle it, yeah.
I mean, that's really out of our control because it goes to state road.
But I mean, it's not like we're having we're trying to permit a
Not like
a
he's put a
Walmart or
takeout window
something.
there or something like that.
No, and if,
Something that really generates a lot of traffic. This
but he
doesn't.
has a bigger unit across the street and you don't even know it's there.
Right, no, that's.
I live on
that's-
site and I don't see people
Yeah.
days in a
You
row.
don't- you're right. Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah,
Well, that
It's
was
amazing.
I live right up the street and
Yeah.
that's my point, I guess, is that I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah, that's not a
Yeah.
huge.
yeah,
traffic.
so I was looking for that.
in in the
The
spring, out in
analysis
the
was
fall,
14
and then-
vehicles entering and exiting per site per day, the site per day.
if he's lucky.
Is that a land originally under NRCS protection?
What is
I didn't
NRC?
understand.
Yeah, what's on RC?
NRCS is,
National Resource
Source.
Conservation Services?
They do the soil.
Yeah, there's the source for your soils.
Soils.
For the soil.
but they also buy up development rights.
Well, they can help with
Properties.
like conservation easements or something like that. but I don't-
Right.
That's
I don't
not
think
enough.
that
No,
this is-
no, that
That's what I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't think this is
Offices
subject
to
to
say,
that,
No,
Conservate anything.
but not that I know of it.
Well, I just see NRCS.
Yeah, NRCS is what used to be the Soil Conservation Service. under the
Right, but I'm
Department of
I'm going through it right now, so that's
Department
why
of
I'm saying.
Agriculture, Yeah,
All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, I had a question
Yes.
regarding on page 4, under pavement. So I didn't know, I didn't know what you, what the board had in mind of, submitting any formal road plans, or if there would be any inspections by the town engineer. When he received approval from the selectmen on the Class 6 road application, the selectmen directed the planning board to talk about a bond to put some security in place.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's still a town road. It's just the
Yeah.
town
Yep.
doesn't maintain it.
Right.
And if so if somebody's gonna be using a town road, it would have to be built to a town
It has
road
to be-
standard
It
Well,
would
it
have-
has to be built
it
to
would-
minimum town standards
Right.
and bonded for
and bond.
the
Yep.
first year or something.
Yeah.
That's what we
The-
decided.
Mr. Chairman, the planning board, the packet of plans that you have in front of you, page C6 is the road design plan and profile
Mhm.
sheet. That is, shows the typical cross section. It shows the profile. It shows the construction specifications for the pavement.
Yeah, right
That's
there.
on there. So
Okay, yep.
it's included in the packet.
So you've got. E6, right?
That's correct.
Doesn't look that steep going up in there.
I know.
Yeah, the exaggeration on the profile makes it look
Yeah.
steeper than it actually is. But we are keeping it
7%.
7%. Yes.
So it's a 24-foot wide road with ditches.
Yeah.
Because conceivably, the town could decide to use that Class 6 road and upgrade
Yeah.
it.
You could open it right across to Old Wolfboro Road again.
Mhm.
Or you could get house lots in there down the road. That's why we wanted it built to the town standards.
Because Good Shepherd has frontage on that.
Yeah.
Yep, makes sense. Let's cover it.
General, guys. This is just design review, right?
This is just design review.
Well, it seems
Okay,
like
so
you-
can I clarify? So is that a yes, that I'd be contacting the town engineer? To do construction observations and to come up with an estimate for security for
You
construction?
would have to figure out the security.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
he'll give a overview.
Okay, I just confirm that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
The guy lives in town, so you
Does-
treat it right.
My opinion, we shouldn't have the engineers, but. Seen how that project went when we used them.
All right, so. Yeah, so, and board have anything else on this?
No,
No?
I think it's coming along pretty
Great.
good.
Yeah, I do
Great.
too.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We'll back in a month or so. and
See you in a month or so. Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, same to you.
Thanks.
Jeff,
no, I
Merry
don't think so.
Christmas.
Oh, that's too bad.
Guys, take it easy. Yeah, do we need to vote on the town engineer? All right,
no.
okay, I didn't think so.
That's too bad.
All right, next case is design review case P 2133. This is map 2 lot 12, 800 Suncook Valley Road for design review for major site plan rural zone. I read through this and this is going before the ZBA like soon, I guess, right?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
I'm not sure that it's appropriate. We don't know what the ZBA is going to say, require, or do, so we're not really even sure what we're looking at and reviewing what the final,
Is this classified as a design review?
it is.
It is a design review. Historically, the board usually waits until the applicant goes before the zoning board before they come in and, present their application to the planning board.
I want to make sure they've cleared the ZBA, I think, before you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if I can interject, Scott Lauer from Norway Plains representing Piper Doobie LLC. In the audience with me is Keith Doobie, the owner, and his wife. The reason we are going in front of the applicant is going in front of the zoning board of adjustments is for a special exception relative to the contractor storage yard that he currently has on site and has had it on site. When we initially submitted the application for this design review, it was strictly for the self-storage component to that. After discussion with the town planner and the code enforcement officer, we amended that design review application to include both components. I understand the board's position and not wanting to discuss things relative to the contractor storage yard component to it, but if the board would be willing, we're here in attendance. Maybe we could talk briefly about the self-storage component to this application so that we can hear what some of the board members may have, and we can take that into advisement and work on that so that when the applicant does get the zoning board of adjustments special exception, we can come back under, again, another design review, and we can then, discuss both the contractor storage yard and the self-storage facility. In my applicant's opinion, and I don't disagree with him, they're two separate items granted on the same piece of property, but the contractor storage yard's been there for better part of a year, where we're really proposing the self-storage facility. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, the strong logic. However, you have a non-compliant, non-conforming use of the property right now. And I think that we ought to allow the ZBA to sort through that before we address the property as a whole. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
I would just ask a question, Mr. Chairman, if they did not get the approval for the contractor storage yard, could they still build this other use?
Quite possibly.
Yeah. And then the other question would be, does the contractor storage yard impact, that being there, does it impact this design in any way at all? Because I was kind of thinking, I'd like to get them, we can move them along, if it isn't gonna, just so we have to do something over again. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I'm
What will
not
the
looking.
ZBA address? Either the contractor storage yard is allowable or not. I mean, it's
Right.
pretty black and white.
And if he had a house there, he'd be able to store his equipment there. So I mean,
Say that again?
if he lived there, if he had a house there.
He
he'd be able to
does.
put the
He's
stuff
got
in
two
his
dwellings
yard.
there.
Well, he's got an apartment.
Yeah.
He'd be able to store his equipment in his yard.
Not for a commercial contractor use, which is what is currently being used for.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, I would like to see if we could find a way that if we could help them out by going through the design review process, as long as we were not either impacting what the ZBA may do, or have to have us do it all over
And
again.
everything that's discussed in the design review is non-binding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a
Okay.
problem really, just to they're here and they've got
And the
everything.
rest of the board feels that way?
I do.
I do.
Okay. All right. All right.
Thank you,
Rock
Mr.
and
Chairman. Great. As the Doobies move forward, I'll start this. Basically, Piper Doobie LLC's proposed tax map 2, lot 12, 800 Suncook Valley Road, Route 28. It's a 3.33 acre parcel located in the rural zoning district, has frontage and an existing driveway on Route 28. The Doobies purchased the lot in 2020, at which point they constructed a garage with apartments. And they were granted a variance from the zoning board of adjustment to allow for an accessory unit slightly larger than the zoning ordinance allowed. So there's the garage, and apartments are serviced by on-site well and septic systems. There's currently a gravel parking area, and we asked Stony Ridge Environment to do a wetlands delineation on the property. And the land slopes generally from south to north. At the rear of the property, there is a snowmobile trail that bisects the property, although to date, they have not asked permission from the landowner to continue to use that trail. I'll skip the component part over the contractor storage yard. And we are requesting eventually design review for 2 proposed self-storage buildings. One building is a 20-foot by 180. The second is 30 feet by 120, netting out to approximately 7,200 square feet of rental space. We're proposing a 20-foot wide gravel access between the structures and circulating around the 2 buildings. Stormwater from the proposed self-storage buildings, as well as the portion of the garage and parking area, will be directed to a stormwater management treatment system consisting of a sediment forebay and a pocket pond that provides treatment of the stormwater before discharging off the property. We will, the ponds are designed to attenuate and meet the post-development rate of discharge. Because the owners live on site, there is no office associated with the self-storage facility. There will be no employees and no proposed parking proposed for the project. Similar to my past applicant, the trash will not be allowed to be stored on site and has to be removed by the tenants. We're not proposing any dumpsters. We have LED down shielded wall fixtures that are depicted on the plans with foot candles ranging from 4.8 down to 0. This self-storage facility will have unrestricted access and essentially open 24/7. We've requested, we will be requesting a waiver from the landscaping plan, as the facility has a wooded buffer between Route 28 and the development, and the self-storage buildings are located to the rear and behind the existing garage. Essentially will become almost non-visible from the public right away. It will require an NHDOT driveway permit for the expansion to a commercial use. There is a NHDOT driveway permit for shared driveway that the Doobies and the abutter to their south, west utilizes. With that, there are no other state permits necessary. And again, I've depicted the proposed self-storage buildings on the plan. There is the dark orange with a gravel darker gray going around it. Essentially, the skinnier of the 2 buildings, the longer one in the rear will only have doors facing to the east, towards the smaller unit. So there's no doors on the back of that that faces the rear the side property line. The smaller of the 2 buildings, or smaller length of the 2 buildings, will have doors on either side. With that, I'll gladly answer any questions and like to hear the feedback from this board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you planning any screening on the, I guess it would be the southwesterly side of the building that abuts the property line?
We talked about it with Mr. Doobie, because it's going to be a single building without any windows, doors, or anything. Essentially, it becomes its own screening. Its color is a dark gray that mimics the existing garage. So putting fence or trees along there wouldn't do a whole lot. It's so we
Just
felt-
thinking about the neighbor.
I understand.
And again, I'll reiterate the 3,000 K or under in the color, light color.
I understand that. Mr. Doobie?
I mean, I'm not
opposed to putting trees up. I think a fence would just be redundant.
I don't think
Building is.
fence is a maintenance issue.
Obviously, trees is something I do. So I would not be opposed to it. I like trees myself, you know. I'd love to keep as many up as possible.
I don't know what everybody else feels about the screening of the building, but
Well, there's no houses within sight of the.
well, it's right beside it,
That's right behind
right
you.
beside it. Look on the plan. It's right there.
Is there there's trees in that 20-foot
There's-
setback though,
That's-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
House on my plan.
We're in a butter, by the way. Okay.
Yeah, but I was gonna say from the highway, you can almost see the back of his boundary line. And I've been down on his property and you can't see that house from there. It is wooded enough in between is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
So I mean, he
No, if it's
says
not
he'd be
needed, it's
willing
not
to plant
needed.
trees.
but
There's already a
I'm just watching out for the neighbors, that's all.
million trees there anyway.
And that looks straightforward to me.
Does.
I know there's a natural runoff down through there anyways.
Yeah, and it's got the sediment pond.
Well, he's
Is there
got,
anything going in that they want now?
There's not much topo on this lot at all, really.
It's,
Pretty
No, that's
flat.
right. I'm looking at the grading and between the two buildings, it looks like you're channeling everything toward the existing garage. And I'm,
and curls around.
yeah. It's for you. So, and there is a pocket of wetlands kind of tucking in there between the pocket pond and the gravel.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, the colored rendering kind of gives you the darker greens are the dark green is the jurisdictional wetlands. The light green is the grassed area, and the sort of the green in between is what's vegetated woods or brush.
And so the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access to this is going right up by the garage and the apartment and
I think my
are you
hope-
living in there now?
Yes.
Okay.
My father lives in the downstairs apartment and we live in the upstairs right now.
No shenanigans there.
Yeah, you know my dad, he's 81.
Yeah.
Keep him close. Things are better.
Yeah, he's happy there.
You know, I'd like to, direct the cars somehow. I don't know how at this point, but to get them kind of go around the perimeter for the most part. I don't want anyone speeding by my door if I can avoid it, I mean, so I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. Some type of a barrier, whether it's probably gonna be vegetative, just something simple to say, this is where you go.
Yeah. Yeah, because with the shared access with your own personal driveway, it's
Yeah.
going to be a challenge segregating those uses.
Yeah, and I put a thought into that, a few minutes anyway, about how I'm gonna divide it once they get in there, and hopefully people will understand. There'll be, I'm sure, a few that'll come in and go, oh.
Until they get used to it.
How was the state with the shared driveway? Is that?
I talked to George Guptos and he said, as long as I don't do 100 units, he didn't have any problems with it. And we're only gonna have about 50, about half that. As like Jeff said before, who was sitting here, he might not see anybody, every couple of days, it's not really a high.
So that
volume
basically the
business.
contractor you got, that's your own. Right.
That's what I mean. It's
That,
personal
yes,
stuff.
I
not
was
like-
under the assumption, as Virgil was, as you mentioned earlier, that when I first bought the property, this was my understanding, I must have gotten confused, that if I just put a garage up, I need to do a contractor yard, which after 25 years of being in business in the town,
Now
I
you
had
have one.
no idea what one was, because I've always had a
Yeah.
yard where I lived. And so, and I asked him at that point, I said, what if I put an apartment in? I'm thinking of moving my father into that building. And he said, and my understanding was at that point it would become a residence and it would be the same as what I had now. I
Right.
was on Ham Woods for 17 years. I was on 28A, I was on Jesus Valley Road, so I didn't think much of it. So then when this all started coming about, the contractor yard came up and I was, what?
I think you live there, you can put what you want in your yard.
Yeah, we,
That's the assumption that I had on the whole deal, so I didn't think much of it, because I don't do anything there. I'm not a retail operation. I don't stockpile anything there. I park some vehicles there and that's it. We go to other people's houses to do the work. My equipment is never there. It's always at somebody else's house. You know that.
I know what that's like. It's not making any money when it's in the
That's what I
yard.
mean. It's, you don't see a
So
lot of
in-
stuff out there.
in light of the fact that we do have a very full agenda and that this is more of a ZBA subject, I think we need to move off of that. Overall, I mean, board have any other comments or thoughts or concerns about the self-storage units?
I just had a couple of things.
Yep.
Or doesn't have anything. All right, so there was a question from the fire department, if there was any fire protection measures to be put in place.
There are none proposed and similar, this is actually smaller than the past application, so.
And I just wanted to clarify if you had received the report from the town engineer.
I did receive it.
Review?
We're
Okay.
working on addressing those comments, and before we come back to the board, we'll have those comments back to you
Okay.
and addressed.
Great.
Then just on the stormwater drainage, it looks like it discharges out the back to that little finger of wetland goes, it's like a drainage swale in there. And again, that your design won't increase flows.
That's right. The rate of discharge will.
Rate of discharge would be the same because of the retention in the
Yeah,
pocket
the
pond.
pocket pond does the
So
attenuation.
the owner of that property back there should not see anything different in that little.
The rate of discharge. won't.
Okay.
The only thing I think might be good is to sketch some ideas about traffic flow, as Keith mentioned, around the property.
Yeah, yeah.
You probably should kind of come to grips with a little something, I think.
We will. We will.
Yeah.
And one of the things, you could just push it over and try to go along the edge of the wetland there. Do that, you probably want to make sure you don't encroach on the wetland.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, everything has a berm along that side, same with by the
Yeah.
storage units to control the water flow.
but if they had a way to come in and just stay away from the house and just
Mhm.
go around, I don't know.
I mean, like I said before, I do like trees. I thought about putting up just a row of trees around there to divide
Yeah.
the parking in there, and I'm not really a fan of Jersey barriers and things
Oh,
like
that's
that.
ugly. Especially in your front yard.
Right.
Not even painted green.
That's right.
So I mean, I like things aesthetically pleasing. That's my job. And it's been that way for 25 years,
And well, just one other thought about this. So these units are not, one of them's 30 and the other one, is that enough? And you're gonna have gravel access, so it's not gonna be paved around there. Is that gonna be wide enough for people to back?
You wouldn't essentially back into, these are only 10-foot wide units, so you essentially parallel park.
But you got one that's 30 by 120, it's 30 feet wide.
Right, but those will have units on either side. of
sides.
So
that.
there'll be 15
Oh, I
feet
see,
deep.
okay.
Deep.
Yeah, so you're basically driving down and then unloading your stuff
That's-
and then
that is
going, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's not really for trailers or any of that. It's more for couches, TVs and
Small
Christmas
stuff, okay,
decorations.
All right. That's all.
Any plans to pave it all ever? Or thoughts?
Go ahead, Andy. Yes, thoughts of paving.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
As sand comes in the house regularly.
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
And
Great.
I haven't wanted to do anything just because I don't know what we're doing moving forward here. and I don't want to have to carve up what I just paid a lot of money for.
because all the other ones are paved, so.
Yeah, and obviously that would be a consideration, your
And that would change.
management.
Well,
Yeah, the water management's, the analysis was done as if it was paved.
Yeah.
But it will change some of our flows and we can look at that.
Yeah.
So
But the speed, yeah.
Speed, volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even gravel is considered impervious once it's down.
Okay, anything else from the board? All right, great.
thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you.
We do public input.
I'm sorry, for design review?
Yeah, we always do. No?
Hear the abutters.
Yeah.
Gotta hear the abutters.
All right. Would you come up and,
Identify yourself.
Joseph Gray, 86 Linwood Drive, backup butter, and Carol Warren. We're very concerned where our property line is with the back of those units. And since they have clear cut to put in their buildings, we have gotten tons more street noise, lights. It's really kind of deteriorated from our quality of life. We definitely want some form of shielding. I'm concerned that there's going to be lights coming right in my back of my house as people drive down in there. There's some serious concerns. And did anyone contact Powder Mill Snowmobile Trail? I mean, Alton shows that the snowmobile trail goes right through there.
well, yeah, but that's done by, that's done by a fairness and approval by the landowner. It's not, we wouldn't have to notify them. So just to be clear though, you're on the other side of the snowmobile trail.
Yes.
So,
That orange or yellow.
no, he's at the other side where
May I
the
get up
north
and-
arrow is there.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, and I can't tell exactly where my property line is on.
Yeah, it's shown. Yeah, your tax map 5 lot.
I think on the front page, I think it shows it.
Yeah.
The house.
Yep.
That could be.
My backyard abuts that
There you go.
and
Yeah.
it's wide open, so we have some serious concerns.
We have to think about some type of screening in there.
Yeah, trees.
What would you,
So-
what do you think you'd like to see?
I don't know yet. I physically, in that, as you can see in the plan, if you drive down between the two buildings, those lights are going right up the back of my home.
Maybe some
And there's
hemlock
very
or
little-
something that stays green
Yeah.
year round.
There's very
Chop
little
tops
screening in
off.
that back corner.
Trouble is, they go
Extremely
up.
low.
Have chopped the
And-
top off, they make a
Chopped
great
off,
hedge.
maybe some hemlocks in there,
Hemlocks
stay
make a
green
great
year
hedge if you
round.
chop the
Hemlocks
tops
would
off
do well there because it's
Yeah.
a shaded area.
Yeah,
in somewhat, not too far from water, I would imagine. Seasonal waters.
Yeah, the
They
trail
like
is-
that too.
That whole
Yeah.
snowmobile area is very, very wet. It very seldomly dries out.
So hemlocks probably do
Water
pretty decent in there.
Yeah,
They stay green year round, block pretty much anything through a hemlock.
And my thought is, until the trees were to mature, if you wanted to, you could put a fence with trees on your side. That would.
We're not looking to spend any
privacy.
money to keep
No,
ourselves
no,
better.
no, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand your concerns. If we put the fence up, on our side, and then you had the trees on the other side to cover the fence, until the trees were to mature and stuff like that.
No, we're not against it, but we're just definitely concerned
Concerned.
because of since you've been there,
Mhm.
we've gotten a lot more noise, there's more light. We can hear a lot more of 28. And now it looks like from the plan, because you can see,
I'm surprised Lynn.
it
would
goes
come
right
to
into
that.
my backyard. I mean, there's very little room. Happy to walk the plan with you sometime or do whatever. But that's the stake that you guys put in is right on one of my trees. It's right there on the corner of my open space. The property line abuts without even any shielding on my side.
Was it there before?
What's that?
Shielding, was it?
Oh, well, before
was
they
all
cut
wooded.
in the property.
Oh, wooded, yeah.
it's all wooded.
He's saying since he built his garage and stuff.
Well, since he built the garage or since he cleared for the.
Well, cleared it out,
for the-
yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe
No,
you
we
started clearing
They
that for
have not cleared.
Oh.
it's gonna get
So it was
worse.
already bare.
It was bare after they cut it to build the home and the current structure.
He's worried about traffic coming into the storage facility, shining a light right to his house.
I can see it right here on Google Map.
Yeah, and stuff, well, and we're exactly 20 feet off the property line, basically, with the snowmobile trail tucked in there too. So,
You know, snowmobile trail can always be changed.
They relocated, I think, that snowmobile trail when they had subdivided that property. I think it was 2004. And when they did that, that's when they cleared that back line, which is the snowmobile trail is all on my property, but obviously it's cleared, you know, all the way through.
Right.
The previous owner, Huzzy of my home, is pretty strict about not wanting people on his property. I'd be a little more flexible to move the snowmobile trail portion a little bit on my side.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I think that's important in alternates, outdoor recreation stuff and.
Part of our Four Seasons.
No,
now.
it's the last thing. I don't want to block the snow, but we used to snowmobile.
Yeah.
I don't much
Yeah.
anymore. Medical things, but anyway. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to block it. I've got customers that use it and everything else, and they tell me they do. And my father who lives there likes to see them go by and stuff, you know.
Because
So it sounds like that they can have a conversation and work this out and
Yeah.
come back with an idea. And we don't need to.
Yeah.
Shh.
all right, is there anybody else from public? Close the public portion.
You mentioned something, Keith, about a fence. About that fence with the,
Yeah, I mean, my concern with his head, with the thought of the headlights going in his living room, I wouldn't want that either. you know.
no, but what I'm
That-
saying is how about that
if you-
fence that got like the chain link fence that you can get with the
Slats.
slats in it, like the
You
green?
gotta get something that looks decent too.
How you get the
Yeah,
grass.
not a stockade. I'd rather see a stockade.
Vinyl
fence.
stockade
And
or
on
something.
his side, put trees in
Trees
to cover the stockade fence.
Yeah.
Just because the stockade fence to me isn't, I don't like it. I'm not a fence person. I like
I ain't
trees.
either,
Okay.
But I think until the trees were to mature, the fence would give a, 100% screen of the headlights. That would be the
What
problem.
I'm saying, yeah.
And then once the trees mature and block the fence, then it's, it'll look so
Go
much more
away.
natural at that point. Even if you were to put some type of an ivy on the fence and too, just to get it to cover and grow and look natural.
All right. Anything else from board?
No,
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
thank
All
you.
right, can I just clarify one thing?
Nope,
So that the
nope, nope.
design review is being continued to the following meeting on January. Forget what day that was, for the contractor's yard portion of the design review. Just wanted to clarify that for the
Okay,
record.
great.
January 18th. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
Good luck.
Down to a minimum, will you?
That's nice.
Yeah, I did my shoulder. It's bad. Merry Christmas, guys.
All right, so next case on the agenda, case P 21-34. Brad Jones of Jones and Beach, agent for Dave Fuller, of Route 28 Boat Storage LLC. Map 9, Lot 6, 436 Suncook Valley Road. Design review, major site plan.
Suncook. 28. Says another Suncook Valley.
That's where the camp trailer park used to be, Lee,
Right on top of the hill,
top of the hill.
right on this side of Bob Williams Road.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. very
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's in addition to that. Those are waivers.
Where is he?
John's the owner,
This
right?
is in
They're gonna
addition
buy
to
it,
that case.
subject to this, I would imagine.
There's some waivers.
Just guessing.
Is that where John Maserati owned?
Yeah, yeah.
These are some waivers for this case.
That was, what was it?
Just
The
name it.
trailer park there. That was a guy out of Pittsfield. What was his name?
There's some waivers.
Didn't ask, I could have told you.
No, thank you.
There you go.
Hey, storage is going crazy.
That waiver I just passed out, that got submitted just recently, so that wasn't in your packets.
All right. How are you?
Good.
Good. You announce yourself and you
Yes.
want to give us the presentation?
Yes, I'm Brad Jones, and I'm with Jones and Beach Engineers, and I'm here tonight with Dave Fuller, representing Dave on his, it's called Alton Route 28 boat storage. And we have been in front of the board for conceptual hearing, and we're back tonight to do a design review. The project has looks pretty much like you saw it when it was in its conceptual form. The buildings were in that same location. So the plans you see tonight are more defined, and we have a lot more information on that. The property itself is on Route 28, and it's 436 Suncook Valley Road, and it's map 9, lot 6. The property itself is 17.71 acres, and the parcel's in the RU zone, and it's got a common driveway between two lots that it was the previous owner had gotten approved. There was actually a wetland fill that was filled. The driveway was built. And so that's all been constructed quite a few years ago to access the property. The remaining property is still wooded, and it's been harvested, wood harvested, but it's basically a wooded site. We're here tonight planning to have 2 boat storage buildings. And one building is, we call it Building A, is 110 feet by 240 feet. So it's 26,400 square feet. The second building is 230 feet by 380. That's 87,400 square feet. There'll also be a small office building, and that building is 20 by 20. So that's a 400 square foot building, and that's going to be right on the access road as you come in. It's not going to be needed that much. It's really just a small office to have an office presence there. That office will be connected to on-site well and on-site septic. This well is actually in at this point. It was already drilled years ago for the property. The septic, we still have to design that and send that to the state, but it is shown on the plan next to the smaller building next to Emerson Drive side of the property. So, but that will be designed in the near future.
You have access off of Emerson Drive to this property?
We did not show any access from Emerson Drive. We did have that on our plans when we went to zoning, and I know the abutters were concerned about that, so we did take it off the plans. So at this point, we don't have any access. We're not opposed to that. In other words, if it was maybe a gated crash gate more for emergency access, we wouldn't have a problem. We have no problem coming in off of 28.
Yeah, that's a good access right out there.
Yeah, and it's great sight distance, and it's really, you're only dealing with this in the spring and the fall to haul boats in and haul boats out. So your traffic flow is very, very low.
You probably get some snowmobiles for summer storage too, I would imagine.
Not really for this use. It's really just going to be the boat storage and outside storage. But yeah, it's not really for small vehicles the way it's set up.
So would they rent them like a 12-month period?
It's basically
By the boat.
seasonal storage.
Just by the boat. right? I mean, you pay, your boat's so big, you
by
pay
the-
so much. and-
Yeah, everybody, you pay by the foot, it goes in the rack,
Yeah,
and you bring it in September, October, whenever you take your boat out.
Not private storage. It's group storage, right? I mean, everybody's in the same building.
Yes.
You haven't got a bay like self-storage
You
would
can't,
be.
you're not coming in and out and hauling it back and forth.
No, I'm talking about this, the storage he's thinking about, it would be like a self-storage unit,
No,
a garage
no.
door for every unit, and that's
It's
not
not.
what you're thinking of.
No. Big interior building, wide open with
Oh,
racks
racks.
inside.
In a fork
And they
truck.
go in the fall, and then you lock the doors and you come back and when ice out comes and empty them out so everybody can be in the water for Memorial. But we're not looking to do any, you go use your boat during the weekend and then bring it back here on Sunday. We're not.
No.
we're not-
Not a dry,
We're not
it's
doing
not a
that.
dry slip.
No, no valet, no valet.
That's-
Is the, will this be used by marinas under contract to store boats?
We've considered it, but we don't want to have multiple, you know, if we made a deal, it would be, I think it could be with just one person, or we could operate it ourselves. We haven't really considered everything.
The site, we did show a 30,000 gallon fire cistern. There's actually 4 separate 7,500 gallon tanks.
Just looking at.
That is going to have a fire pump on each building, and each building would use the same cistern. And that is something that we chose to do for insurance and safety issues. So that is shown on the plan, and that the system's designed at that point.
Those fire pumps also going to require then an emergency backup generator?
We, at this point, don't have that in our design, so that's, so the answer is no on the generator unless that's something you want to pay. But
Yeah, I mean, if it was something that was necessary and
Are you planning having water on site?
yeah, there is a well for the office, so we could replenish the
So you could do
cistern slowly.
self-filling features if you needed to.
Yeah, and I thought
That's a
it was,
requirement
cistern.
for Barnstead.
yeah, it's a good idea to you know, but you take
But
some.
if you just only have a cistern and you just put a well in that whole system, and then it really bounces. But if you're using it for multiple things, it's makes perfect sense. Couple.
Yeah. You know, we just did one for the SPCA in Stratham, and that's, and that way they can fill that up and not have to pay to, because, you know, it was empty when they first started. They wanted to fill it up, and 30,000 gallons is a lot for a. So they decided just to fill that up with full water. We do have still to apply for our AOT permit, and we have applied for a change of use for the DOT driveway permit. It was already approved for like a commercial use, but we sent plans and an application. So we're waiting to hear back from them on that.
Gary Podmore.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna put his machining shop there at one point.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the drainage itself is all the drainage will go to the pond at the rear of the site, and so it's shown on that plan. So we're gonna collect all the stormwater and collect all the stormwater from the buildings, and that gets piped into a swale and then runs down into the bioretention pond. Once again, this drainage will have to go in front of AOT, so they will have comments, and you know, but that's the basic look of the drainage at this point. We did send a traffic memo, and that has been sent to the town just recently. We just got that on the 17th. One of the things in there, we've agreed to not haul any boats until 8:45 in the AM. So that's going to get us, so these boats won't be hauled in and out during school hours. And then the other hours are between 2:30 and 3. They would not haul any boats in or out. And the owner has agreed to do that. And we did submit that to the DOT as well. So, and I know when we went to ZBA, that was definitely concern and, it's, so it's something that we want to address up front.
There already may be a well on that property.
There is. a
There is.
Hartford. That was the name.
Carson.
Don't
Carson.
Don't people haul their own boats in? I mean, what's to tell them not to come at?
Because he's not going to open the door and let him in.
Gate closed.
Yeah, but
This isn't going to be 24-hour service.
It's not gonna be, we're not gonna have employees sitting down there, waiting for the boats to come. It's gonna be set up ahead of time. And it's.
Certain hours you'll be there,
Yeah.
certain hours you won't.
Correct.
Oh, so they'd know. I mean, they wouldn't come all the way
Yeah,
from.
yeah, we're not looking
other
at
side
someone
of,
pulling
you
with
know.
their boat and say, yeah, I want to stick it in the rack. It'd be something that's already prearranged and paid for and everything before they even show up.
Not to interrupt, but at the beginning of your speech, you said there was 2 approved entranceways.
No, there's a single entrance, but it's a common, access.
To lot
So-
6-1.
So any of the old driveways going into the Carson Trailer Park is,
I
Because it
think
was what,
Johnny's already
4?
closed them up, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, those have been barricaded off, yeah.
they've been barricaded off, or are they still considered non-existent?
DOT would have to be that one to tell you that.
And I don't think they're gonna give it to you on that hill anymore.
No, that's what I was saying, that up on the, right up by Dockham's house there, that
Yeah,
with a big boat coming in and out.
yeah.
Yeah, so our entrance is got
Yeah,
over
I know, yeah.
quite a
Be a
bit
shared
of,
entrance.
yeah, but it's really got some great sight distance.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, so it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
a perfect
yeah.
spot, yeah.
Right side
Right
of-
next to Emerson Drive.
Yep,
there's
yep.
a co-op.
Oh, right, yeah.
They're the neighbor.
In the review
Oh,
notes,
color Bob.
Jessica noted that there was, she noted that there was, when we talked to you in September, we talked about 400 votes. And now it says 740, potentials of 740. I don't know, is there potential for traffic issues and, coming in and out of there? And that's a lot of votes.
So we go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna, the people that come store their boats, I don't think it's gonna be like a convoy coming in there on a Saturday morning. There's a lot of cars that go by there during the day. I mean, I don't think 35 boats are gonna show up all at once. I don't
You
think,
get busy after Labor Day, then again after October the 12th.
So people are going to be bringing these in by prior arrangement with you.
yeah,
And you're going to say, okay, we'll be open at 9 o'clock on such and such a day, show up and we'll store your boat. So you're actually going to be operating forklifts and boat lifts and things like that.
And
They'll be- yeah, they'll be-
also
right,
be in the
schedule
building.
Boats too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you needed to, because, he knows he can't handle 150 boats coming at him all at once. He can say, I can take 30 today and I'll take 30 tomorrow type of idea.
And then what happens to all the trailers?
they'll either take them home or we have a bunch of gravel parking outside that we could store the trailer
So
as
you'd be
well.
storing trailers as well.
Sometimes they put them right up on the rack too.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. Like a separate rack or?
Their
with
own
the
rack
boat?
with the boat.
With
Put
the
Well, they
trailer
strap it
on the
right
rack.
on, put the whole thing
Yeah,
in.
that's probably a good way to handle it.
Yeah,
Save space.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Plus it keeps it out of sight.
Steps too. I mean, you're not taking the boat off of somebody's trailer and putting it back
Yeah,
on
and
the
there's
trailer.
no washing of boats, no mechanical work, nothing. It's just strictly show up, store the boat, and that's it.
So you figure, yeah, if a marine is working, they're gonna bring, winterize a boat or whatever it is, and then bring it up and then go winterize the next boat, bring that
Well,
up.
that's why I brought that up about marinas usually. I know that my boat's over at Melvin Village and they have a contract with guys like you
Right.
that they buy so many
Spots.
berths and stick them and bring them over. Yeah.
So they can set their own pace. They'll know the hours they can't go in, and so I think it'd be very controlled. And obviously, if the forklift's not running and saying, hey, it's school hours, and so that way it can be governed by that, so.
What about Saturdays and Sundays?
I don't know about Saturdays.
I think Saturdays for part of a day would be a possibility, but not on Sundays.
I'm just.
The New Hampshire Blue Laws.
I mean, not that I care. I mean, I just.
Yeah, I don't think we'd want to do that to the neighbors and, it's want to be a good neighbor, and we agreed on the plan to put a nice buffer in on some of it, shielding the folks in the back that we've spoken with. You know, we want to be nice and quiet and
No headaches.
minimal lighting, you know, we don't want light, you know, just enough to
In the winter, you can have a toboggan hill. There's plenty of topo there, I'll tell
The
you.
land in the pond.
I don't think they could get the insurance to cover it looking at these hills.
So I have a
Pass it
couple of
along,
things, if I may.
Yes,
So you just want to make sure that you indicate the hours of operation, it like in an updated project narrative and on the plan.
Sure.
And I didn't see anything about a sign.
We did depict the sign out front. Now,
Okay.
we didn't get into any detail of the sign. I figured that would be a sign permit separate, but a lot of times we'll show it on the site plan to just say, hey, this is where it will be located.
yeah,
Okay.
just a
Yeah.
proposed sign with landscaping was the only thing I saw noted there.
Yeah, we just want us, we don't need a big giant, we just want something small, inconspicuous, you know, inconspicuous, just.
Okay.
People can find it.
So is that, I mean, you don't necessarily want to show that on the plan, right? That would be a
Just
sign
where, like
permit
where it's located.
or
maybe
location.
just-
Okay.
yep. And I had noticed that there was no landscaping plan submitted.
Right.
So did you plan on putting in a waiver for that?
We did show landscaping. It's just not a separate.
Okay, so
plan.
it's on. it's on
Yeah,
another
it's,
sheet.
it's on the
Okay.
C2 sheet, the
Okay.
site plan. And we show those buffer trees along the parking lot on C2.
Okay. And did you have any plans for the building at all? Do you have any, you know,
And the
something that the
applic-
board can look at?
Yeah, in the application, at the end, there are some plans of the building. So that is at the last couple of sheets of the, there's actually
You have the photo.
a photo
it's right
of it.
here.
Yep.
Oh, it's in that? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the back 2 pages, back 3 pages.
I apologize. There's a lot of cases
What is
on
the
this
height of the building?
agenda.
Oh, no,
I'm sorry.
35, so you're
Well,
going,
on one, the other one is shorter.
yeah, so that will be to the peak.
Yes.
You don't want to see you buy a new ladder truck.
Well, the big one kind of sits down in, you said at the beginning, it's
Okay.
still gonna sit down.
Yes.
Okay, I see them. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
The only thing I say is I'm a lighting guy or the lack of lighting guy and try to keep the lighting under 3000 K and down lighting.
Yeah, we would like some wall packs.
Yeah.
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 Very minimal.
I like the wall packs myself.
Yeah, they're gonna work out good with the
They're like
building.
12, 13 watts. They're nothing.
What'd you say for wattage?
The color, the 3000 K
3,000.
Kelvin. That's the scale that they'll rate it on. 5,000 is daylight and
Got it.
2,500 is warm light. You don't see what I've done. That's all 3000 KOS.
Oh, is it? Okay.
On my center, yeah.
I want the signage.
Huh?
I thought signage was 24 square feet.
In the rural zone, it is. In the rural residential,
It's 12.
I just learned it was 12.
Depends on the zone you're in.
Yeah. And if you're in the Lakeshore residential, it's like 4, something like that. It's small. Something
Okay,
like
so
that.
that's why further down 28, you can go with 24.
Right.
So I just had one more question. Are the soil test pits located on the plan?
They are not.
Okay,
We have them located, they're getting them to Brad so that he can.
Yeah, so the next set of plans, we will have those depicted.
Perfect.
on the
Okay.
plan. Yeah,
I wasn't sure. I didn't see them, so.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I didn't miss them.
no, they are definitely not there.
All right.
So, and Jessica, you'd also noted that the wetlands permit had expired.
Yeah, so
So, yeah, it was just a note on C.
Note 2
I think
on
it is.
C2, yeah.
So the dredge and fill had already taken place and then they put the crossing in and the culvert.
Yeah.
So it's okay that it's expired. We don't need to get into the work's been done. So we're okay with, not need,
So
we
the
do not
permit has
need.
been
a-
satisfied.
It's been set.
Stony Ridge did all of the inspections and the whole bit.
Okay,
Okay, because it references the 15-foot. Oh, no, it's a 15-inch. Sorry, don't have my glasses.
Culvert, yeah, culvert
Yeah, so
size,
this diameter, got it. So that office, you're gonna need to kind of highlight the parking for that as well. Is that what that old 20 by 10 with a handicap symbol, is that what that is right there?
Yeah, there's 4 spaces right off of the access
Okay,
road.
very good. And the septic, where are you thinking that might?
Yeah, so you can
Right.
see that on that C2 plan. It's a
Yeah.
little hard to see, but it's
Sits right in
it's
behind
by
the building.
Emerson
Yep.
Drive.
Yep.
Yep.
Backs
Right.
up to the wall.
Yep.
Oh, I see. Yep, I'm sorry. Yeah,
It's right in the tree line depiction.
yep.
so is there a little office
20 by 20 office. Yep.
where the
Right.
is office staff gonna park anywhere in particular, or is that just?
I'm thinking like if files need to be put in there on, on boats and so forth, but it's not gonna be a manned office or anything. It's just gonna be a place that we can,
Store some
put files
information?
and
Okay,
keys, whatever it may be for.
Well, those 4 parking spaces identified may suffice for that
Yeah.
usage. So, and I heard gate earlier. Are you intending to gate this?
We won't gate it out at 28. We will probably gate it where it enters.
By the office. or
On
whatever.
Emerson
Yeah,
Drive.
past the
Because that
50 foot right away.
That 5-acre piece is gonna have the access.
Access.
Don't have access off Emerson
Yeah,
Drive.
I know. I
Out
think that
front.
was-
So enough distance off the road. So in theory, somebody's pulling a boat in, at least get them off the road.
Right.
He has to leave access to that 50-foot reciprocal access. Because that's not his.
That's the access for the rest of the property.
Right.
But we could do that right at the end of that right away. We could put a gate right there. Would probably be a good idea to have
Yeah,
that.
just before you enter into the bigger area.
Yeah.
It's just after the building.
Yeah, that would keep the honest people out of there, because if someone wants to torch that with 750 boats, that could be a hell of a fire.
Not even talking about
Yeah,
that.
you ain't got enough water.
Test out that cistern.
Yeah, Sparky wasn't an April.
I would
Well,
do,
that's
I would do
true,
the
too,
research though on the, just because I've run into it too many times on my projects. That the minute you put a fire pump in,
Yep.
now you need an emergency backup generator, and that triggers a whole series of complicated electrical transfer switching and.
Yes.
So.
One nice thing is we're right next door to the co-op, and I can't imagine they go without power for too long.
You probably run extension cord. They have a huge generator over there.
Probably do.
Just move the generator a little closer.
That's right.
I imagine our power would come off of them as well, is my guess, after.
Yeah, I mean,
The co-op.
you're gonna give them a blanket easement, because that's what they take, and they'll let you know,
Sure.
and how much.
Yep.
So the only other thing that I didn't see on the plan is your proposal for snow storage. Or snow removal.
Yes, we will get that on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, these
and-
are good comments. We also got the drainage comments that we will.
Okay, good. Yep.
We will get that
Oh, I don't either, but-
complete on the plan and the drainage report, and so yeah, next time we show you the plans, we'll have all that.
Okay, and the meets and bounds
Absolutely.
property,
Yeah,
all that
that's
stuff that I
important.
had listed. Okay,
Yep,
Just
I'll get that
Okay.
on there. Yes.
Find Billy documents.
Yeah.
This one.
Billy said it.
Billy will tell you a lot of stuff.
He's told me about 6, 8.
So board got anything else?
No.
No?
I think it looks good.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Units tonight.
You know the one up on Route 11, the newest one? It's full.
They fill up quick, kid.
Gosh,
Fill up quick.
unbelievable.
People don't want attics anymore.
Double the size of the one they have, like Philip Bed Road, Philip, they just can't handle it as far as the staff.
It's nuts. Okay.
All right. So
No,
that
that's a
is
site
it
plan.
for our design review portion of the
Yeah,
evening.
should we do the public on that?
We did the last
We
one.
did the last one. We should open this
Public
to
input.
public before they escape.
Oh, public input.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Steve, sit back down.
Yeah, I'm terrible at this. Public input on that case. I'm sorry, I never actually brought it up. Is there anybody here from public want to speak to this case we just heard? No? Okay, thank you. Public session closed.
Yep.
There we go.
Put on.
Have a
Take
nice
care.
one, Al.
Yeah.
I was thinking we'd take a break now.
I think so.
All right. All right, I'm gonna recommend that we take a 10-minute break here.
I love that thought.
Stretch your legs. Yeah. We got a long agenda still.
To think when I first started, 2 lot lines adjustment was too much. Used to tell us that on the back.
Must be everybody's heading to the bathroom.
I'm sure.
This could have been done in 5 minutes, and then you could have your 5-minute break.
Right.
Yeah. So when I forget to go to public session, will you remind me? Would you believe, I guess this is the end, coming to the end of my 3rd year now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, I live in Alton. I've been here 7 years, 8 years, something like that.
This is my 6th year with. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, but you had you guys do the town meetings as opposed to the
SB2.
yeah, as opposed to the voting. Because I lived in Stratford for years and for 12, 14 years, and we'd go in on a Saturday for a town meeting and get out of there at 6 o'clock at night.
Oh, midnight.
Is this your town meeting?
This,
This is a proposal for property.
yeah, this is just planning board meetings. So, yeah.
And who do I go to the town administrator for the list of properties for sale?
Yeah, yep, and with town planner, we'll have access to that as well. Tax assessor. So, yeah, I think they just had an auction recently. They just auctioned off some properties recently.
Thank you for that. In my truck.
You gonna run again?
So where's your warm spot?
I'm done, so.
Where's your warm spot?
Here's my warm spot.
Yeah, you said you're gonna go to a warm spot.
Go to Mexico,
Whereabouts?
Cancun.
Okay.
It's one of those all-inclusives, gonna try to avoid the shooters on the beach.
It's right there too.
Yeah, right.
Big news lately.
Well, Honduras is a place that being shot.
Had guys come up on jet skis, I guess, a month or two ago and start shooting.
Where's this?
Cancun.
Really?
Yeah,
Straight out of James Bond movie, you know?
Yeah. You know, all these places,
drug cartels is
you know, even St. Thomas has,
TV.
St. Thomas has these knuckleheads that are out, see, behind the waterfront, this project, so to speak. You know, like I say, in every city, there's places you don't go. You know, I mean,
Chocolates, if anybody's interested in
oh
chocolate.
gosh, no. I'll have one.
Pass the bag around. Pass the bag.
Just went in and robbed the desk. Heavy duty one. Oh, those are good ones. Oh,
Okay.
we know who makes the big bucks.
We all need a sugar break.
Yeah, right.
I'm a chocoholic.
Yeah, send it this way. Hey, this way. That's the good stuff.
Sorry about that.
Who makes the big bucks? That's the good stuff. That's my dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, it better not be my dinner.
Have a card.
Mine, I
sign.
get time to
Okay.
run Concord.
You want to do it now or after?
I'll come right over.
Feel free.
Yep.
Gotta call me at 4:30. Says, you know, you can pick up your wife now, Bob.
We can
4:30, I gotta
sign
meet.
from the planning.
Oh, we did?
Had to
Oh,
run
that's
to
too
Concord
bad.
and get her.
So I was taking a collection, if you're interested.
Mm-hmm. What you want?
Okay.
Fair enough.
Oh, these things are evil.
Yes, they are, but they
Should I get it? Did you sign the card yet? No. No. Absolutely.
When are you going down? February?
Yeah, I think the 18th.
Vacation week.
Yeah. So
You're not taking kids with you, are you? Okay, good. That's like the first time I went to Disney World. No kids. I had to make sure Disney was okay for kids. I went myself.
just to check it out.
That's right.
Well. All right, just waiting on leave. Keep those away. Sorry, please. Thank you, Jessica. Those are good.
Yeah, those are really
We
good.
needed a break.
They're really bad too, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're just waiting on Lee.
We'll go over there. She'll share.
You want some? Good for everybody.
Yeah, you do. You know you do. They're really good.
Yeah, feel free. I mean, it's there for everyone.
Good one for that guy over there.
Which guy?
This guy in the blue, this guy had enough. I don't need any more.
Those are really good.
Thank you.
I wanted a yellow one, he says.
Jessica, you really used a lot of ink on this meeting tonight.
Just on the agenda.
I know. I opened that up. I go, oh, my word.
On the wrap up.
She said we had a package. She says, it's pretty thick. I come down, pick it up. It's like having taken a library home.
Told us to bring a dolly.
Yeah, bring your two-wheeler.
Man, she's got quite a meeting plan.
Flatline adjustment.
How much do you have in the pipeline? Are the people that you're talking to, and we're gonna keep? Yeah, we are. I had to see that looking around.
No, actually, knock on some wood.
She's in here about 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Just kind of cleans it up, doesn't
I
it?
live here.
Town hall, she lives here.
Oh, yeah, she sleeps here.
Now, she ain't got much time
I
lately.
did. There's a Murphy bed in that wall in my office. That's what that really is.
Murphy bed's the best. I love those things.
All right, we ready to call this meeting back to order at 8:18-ish?
Yeah.
So next case, completeness review, application public hearing if application is accepted as complete. So this is case P 2130. Lot line adjustment, Lakeshore Residential District, map 11, lots 2729 off Dan Kelly Drive. Steve is here from Norway Plans.
That where the 3 new houses are going right there?
Nope.
Two no.
Two new houses. Nope.
And there's one up in the back.
That's an abutting property. It has nothing to do with us. This is strictly a lot line adjustment between two neighbors.
No, I was just getting the Dan Kelly Road. That's,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
So I would suggest that the board act on the waivers first. Or waiver,
The waiver request.
No waivers were submitted.
and then there was.
Read on.
Yep.
So there's been a waiver request for section 7, F.7.E, complete boundary survey showing meets and bounds for each of the properties.
The reason for that was?
The original survey was done by RSL survey back in 1999. This is just a revision to that survey. All the meets and bounds, his monuments, everything was done. The legal description has the complete meets and bounds description in the legal description that I gave over. So the lawyers could draft it out, but it's really an RSL survey that was done by Richie Ladd.
So, the board want to act upon that waiver request?
Yeah, I'll move to grant the waiver requests of section 7, F.7.E.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, there we go. All right, so let's review this for completeness.
3 items.
I know where you are now. Okay, across from the main house, the original house, Curtis House.
Left when you go up the road.
Turn right, it's right on the right-hand side.
Big blue house.
Yeah, used to be white.
John Cable lives.
Yep.
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 Lodge.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you guys know where you are, you have any
My ex-wife's
questions?
grandfather used to own it, so yeah, I know right where it is.
Close to home.
Yeah. He's the Curtis that you see all over everything.
All right. Board have any comments? Steve, you want to give us a
A quick rundown.
quick
Can
overview?
you do completeness first? Can you
Oh,
vote on
I'm
that?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Make a motion that we accept the application for case 2130 as complete.
I'll second that.
Second, any further? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, great.
All right, the quick rundown is Mr. and Mrs. Fuller approached Eastside LLC and asked to acquire roughly 2+ acres of land to give themselves more of a buffer between their house and Eastside LLC, because their house is right on the setback when it was originally developed back in 1999 when Richard Ladd did the survey. So it's basically a land purchase swap, but lot line adjustment between the two neighbors of 2.33 acres. Both lots are conforming, both lots are over the land area both have frontage, everything's status quo in that regards.
Pretty straightforward.
There's not much to talk about.
Pretty straightforward.
I was wondering why we took a break.
Yeah.
I didn't for the break.
You could have been home by
No,
now.
no, I have no issues with anything.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. And sample deans were submitted, so
Probably should open it to
It's
the
all set.
public.
All right, Jess, we're ready for you.
I have no comments. I didn't have any issues or anything. Everything looks pretty, I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward lot line adjustment.
Get a star for your forehead.
I'm getting better at this.
Since you have a lot of forehead.
All right. I'll
Just
entertain
get
a
one of
motion.
them orange stickers for a gallon of milk.
I want to start right there.
That's all right.
All right, is there any public input? It's just simply moving a lot line
Make it one
to-
lot bigger,
to make one lot larger.
give the house more buffer.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the public portion. Board?
I'll move on case P21-30, lot line adjustment on Dan Kelly Drive, that we accept it with conditions precedent.
And
Approve it.
and
Approve it.
subsequent.
And so
Subsequent conditions. Thanks, coach.
All right, and Virgil seconded. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your candy.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Take care.
Christmas.
Good to see you.
All right, next case, P2131. Map 10, lot 26, Frohawk Brook Road, final minor subdivision. This is to subdivide map 10, lot 26 into 2 lots of record. Okay, so do we have waivers on this?
There are waivers, yes.
File them.
Oh.
Show jurisdictional wetlands twice.
So. It might have been another project I was working on, I don't know. So many lately. All right, so we have, looks like half a dozen waivers here. First one is for 7D.1.B. Complete boundary survey. The lot has been surveyed before and we have only surveyed the lot to be subdivided off. I'll leave it up to the board whether we want to address these individually.
why don't we just go through them and see if there's anybody that,
Yeah.
any of them that we
That
don't
rears
like.
its ugly head.
So the next request is section 7D.1.C4, location of all proposed and existing monuments. So they did not locate the monuments. We did locate the 2 on the lot being subdivided and will set the 2 needed. The next one is section 7D.1.G1, jurisdictional wetlands. There are no wetlands on the lot being subdivided. We ask that we not delineate wetlands on the remaining land. The next one is section 7D.1.I, existing and proposed natural and man-made features. We ask that we not locate any on the remaining land. Section 7D.1.J, to show all jurisdictional wetlands. There are no wetlands shown on the original subdivision. We ask that we not show wetlands on the remaining land.
that may have been created by building retention ponds in the drainage easements. And last is section 7D.1.N. Show all areas with slopes in excess of 25%. We show them on the subdivided lot and ask that we not show them on the remaining land.
Nothing is glaring.
So, up to the board. Would you like to address these individually, or is there any that jump out at you?
I just have a question about the jurisdictional wetlands. That doesn't look like there would be any, given the topography, but.
No place for that water to settle anywhere on that slope.
So we have a soil, I mean, we gotta have something that's in the record, either soils or wetland
I do show
survey.
the soils.
Yeah, you have a soil map right
So
here.
the
Soils are on here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the soils, I think, would do that, would satisfy that,
Yeah, they'll
the
tell you.
claim
They're all.
that there are no wetlands.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with any of these.
Mr. Chairman, on case P 21-31, I'll move to approve the waivers on section. I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit, if you don't mind. Section 7, D, 1, period B, then C4, G1, I, J, and N.
I'll second that.
Yeah. All right, and Virgil seconded that?
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the waiver requests are done. Now, completeness. Sample Ds were the only permit approvals, an HDOT permit.
I don't think they have much jurisdiction up there.
So anything jump out at you, Jessica?
Just a couple things that weren't indicated on the checklist, so I didn't know if they were applicable or not, which was the driveway site, distance analysis, and future development. They just weren't
Which
indicated.
we're
on-
right at the end of Frohawk, so you got plenty of sight distance away the cars are gonna be coming. And as far as future development, they plan on building on the remaining land, the owners do, and sell this lot.
Make a motion that the.
I don't think you can be able to develop it anyway, because the Frohawk is class 6 beyond
Right,
this
basically,
lot.
probably right basically at the end of this, isn't it?
I show the, there's a big dark
Yeah, there's a
line
little
there that
line right
shows the
there.
difference, and I
Yep.
show frontages on both the class 5 and class 6.
Mhm.
Even though it's not paved, it's still class 5 up to that line, because
Yep.
it's 1,500 feet from the beginning of Frohawk.
Town plows.
Town plows it.
I'll make a motion to accept application P 2131 as complete.
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, all right. So again, I don't think this is a terribly complicated one.
Oh, it's-
The only thing I noticed is gonna be a pretty steep driveway.
So the way are you looking at the driveway profile,
Yeah, no, I'm looking at
the topo?
just the topo, yeah.
It's not gonna be any worse than any of those driveways that are on
Right.
They're
Frohawk
already, they're
now.
already there, yeah.
Some of them on Alt Mountain Road. Some of them on Alt Mountain Road.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. There's a
Yeah.
couple subdivisions.
Just on the other side of this. Yeah.
And you're not gonna hold people to this location because they can sit there and come up and then go along the slope, take a little left-hand turn, go along the slope. That'll cut that slope down quite a bit.
Yeah.
You can see the house next door is almost halfway up the lot. I have it fairly close to the road. So most everybody down there are pretty far off the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I just add something?
Yes.
So Paul, when I talked to you last, I had asked you who was in charge of maintaining those drainage easements.
Yep.
And so I did look, did some research.
At the previous subdivision?
Yep. So it's the homeowner. So I just wanted to
What I
clarify
thought.
that for the record.
Didn't state that on the plan, though. I don't believe, did it?
It was in the notice of decision.
Okay. So when they do the deeds here, the new owner of this lot will be in charge of that drainage that goes, that 20-foot drainage easement that goes down alongside.
That map 10 lot 26. Yep.
So is there there was a test pit right in the
Lower right corner.
lower right corner
Yep.
of that 4K area. That,
Didn't want to cut trees down to get up any further it's just to prove the lot's buildable.
Yeah.
And I do show the 4K for state,
Yep.
which we have applied but have not heard back yet.
there's a test pit data.
No test pit needed on the remaining land.
No, but just on the, for the 4K.
Right.
Do we have that in the package here?
Test pit data should be.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
It's in
Okay.
here.
Yep. So you were no ledge.
I don't believe there's any ledge on this lot. I think it's all big rocks. Well, on this 2-acre lot, there may be some on the remaining land. Sure.
You sure there's not a flood hazard zone up there? We need a big boat if it gets wet up there.
Now this 20 feet of drainage, is that the one that goes up and then comes back down?
Goes up to that first drainage easement right behind the lot. That drainage easement behind the 2-acre lot has a pond on it, detention pond.
Yeah.
That Bollinger
And
put
then
in.
it goes down that
Right.
Gotta go
20
down
foot.
the other side of it.
Yeah,
That's all riprap.
yeah. There's miles of it up in there.
So that's the snowmobile trail.
That
It
20
runs
foot,
right
no.
up beside it, yeah.
Beside that 20-foot drainage easement?
No, up by the tension ponds.
Oh, yes, that's.
Goes up that drainage.
See this here? That's the access way now to these drainage ponds, and that's probably the snowmobile
Oh, yeah, yeah.
trail. And then it comes down by
Waterman.
that one lot that Sean had, right next to the one that Sean Hillsgrove built on.
Okay, and Ryan Heath just built on one up.
Oh, Ryan Heath, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Sean wanted to buy that lot, but
Right.
he didn't like it. Ryan jumped on it.
Yeah, there was some good digging in there.
Porridge, maybe.
All right, does the board have anything else?
Just the monumentation.
There's 2 on there, and then we'll go out and set the other 2.
What are they gonna be?
Set?
No, what, are they gonna be posts or are they gonna use granite pins? What is it?
Oh, I guess stuff on the road's supposed to be granite, right?
Right.
Correct.
The one in the back will be,
The back
Iron
ones, I
rod.
think can be pins.
Rebar, yeah.
Yeah, they can be with your cap on the top, yeah. I think that's what we've been doing, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
now, everything on the road has to be granite, right?
correct.
But, or is it just the road control, like PCs and PTs? Because I've seen other subdivisions where there's just granite at where the point of curvature starts. But if there's a lot line or a lot corner on a straightaway, I've seen iron pins.
I think
Granite bound's
It's supposed to be
expensive.
granite
You
though,
sit
isn't
there
it?
and you start putting those on every corner.
That was my understanding, but
Right.
I see it in a lot of the different subdivisions. They just got pins.
Granite bounds are
It's a lot of digging.
expensive
It's
and
a lot of
you got,
expensive
and
and
a
not
lot
easy
of
to get
digging.
in.
I can see granite bounds at point of curvature and then point of tangency. You know, beginning of the curve and the end of the curve. Anything in between, I think, should be just an iron rod.
So there's an option. So granite bounds are required at the front lot corners, or a waiver should be requested for an alternative bound.
Want me to write that right now?
So that could be discussed.
Yeah, I mean, everything else
bounds
on the
are-
streets, iron rebar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Those things are 3 foot long and we pound them down to their flush unless we hit a rock. And even if we hit a rock, we're not gonna get a granite bound in either. Most of the time, if it's a little rock, that little iron rod will bend a little bit, but we bend them back to where that top is always where it's
Dead
supposed
nuts.
to be.
well, you can't do that with granite,
No,
because if you beat on it, you're gonna bust it.
So anyway, I mean, I was just trying to straighten out, that we have a rule, so if you want to change it to something else, we just gotta.
Right, then
Do
you
it.
would request a waiver.
So request.
I request a waiver.
Okay.
Is that good?
Here we go.
So what would you like to have? Pins,
Yeah,
iron pins?
they're easy to find in the snow when you have to go back to them also. Magnetic locator.
Yeah, plus, that's right, you can find them with her.
Yeah, well, the granite bounds come with a plug now too.
Oh, they do?
Plus, we always put railroad spike next to them. But still pain in the butt. And those things get, you can't put it in all the way. Someone hits that granite,
It's
it
moving.
pops right off.
That waiver
I'm adding
appropriately
it on there.
documented.
Granite's really a soft stone.
I don't know.
Unless you have
I can't
Unless you have a
cite
slab.
like
that?
that curb,
Can't cite the
that
regulations.
doesn't
Over,
break.
over requires 6-inch square, 5 foot long. Granite,
5 foot.
5 foot.
You gotta bring a machine and dig it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dover's got a lot
Why
of
I don't
sand
work in
too.
Dover.
Okay, so we don't have the official regulation number, but we do need a motion, second, and a vote on that waiver.
I'll move
Question.
to approve the iron rebar as the street side monumentation.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and we'll plug in all the appropriate letters and numbers.
And colons and dots and commas and.
Yeah, Perez. Anything else from the board on this, or? We go to public. Is there anyone from the public wants to speak to this?
They're just waiting patiently.
There are.
Okay, before you make a
The door's
motion,
down.
Saying less
Is-
said, the better.
before a motion's made to approve the application, you need to come up with active and substantial development or building.
setting the pin.
Well, will 12 months to be okay to set the rebar?
Sure.
Active and
Okay.
safe for 12 months
I'll second that.
and the deeds. Right?
The deeds. Right?
Just depends on how much Ralph winds going up the hill.
I'll let Ralph whine. At least he doesn't have to lug granite.
Oh, he'll be happy on that one.
You tell him you saved him a whole bunch of work.
He'll still whine.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, on case P 21-31, final minor subdivision on Frohawk Brook Road in Alton Bay to approve the plan with waivers with conditions precedent and subsequent conditions. Ugh. First day with a new tongue.
You'll get used to it.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second from Russ. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bob.
All right, so next case, P 2132, Denise Pickowitz, agent for Dean Puzzo of Joe Bean LLC, map 26, lot 10, Homestead Place. Oh, on the backside. Final minor, I'm having trouble now.
See, it's catchy.
Final minor site plan.
Must be the overtime we're on or something.
Yeah, it's, change use of the existing building to a medical center or medical laboratory used to offer chiropractic care. So this is, I think everybody knows right where this
There's
is.
Mr. Dean, he's usually
We
the
have
one here.
an addition to the plan.
Okay.
Oh, that's like him. That's why I said it. He usually is in bed now.
There's another page to the plan.
Okay.
I thought I saw this.
It's a. So I got to share something with you before.
This is on that other pad space or?
This is
Oh, the restaurant. The Moose.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, when this plan was submitted originally, Miss Dr. Pickowitz was going to rent out the entire building. But business plans have changed, so now she's only going to rent out half of the building. So the original plans that were submitted were the ones that were available to department heads to comment on for the public and for abutters, available to look at. So these new plans that you have, and with this other page I just gave you, they're less intrusive. So it's not more, there's no increase to the use. So I suppose it would be up to you to determine whether that's a fair representation of the plan. Just throwing that out there.
So originally, it was the entire existing building footprint going to be used. Now we're talking about using half of the
Just-
building.
just the
footprint,
half.
Over half of the building
Yep.
footprint, but essentially it's less impact.
Right.
Right.
It's a different plan. I mean, I would feel comfortable if you went forward with it because it's not, more of an impact, it's less.
Hmm.
But that would be up to you to decide whether you wanted to move forward with it.
I'll leave that up to the board. I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
So this was a,
Realize it's not an exact match to what was presented to the public, but I don't think it's enough of a difference.
so basically this was a restaurant.
Right.
And now, because you're breaking it down into two small units, it'll be, probably wouldn't be used as a restaurant, it would be in more office space, which they show here. That's likely what will happen.
Yeah, I think the
That's what they're
likelihood of it,
proposing. Yep.
yeah.
And they'll free up a ton of septic loading on the lot.
Yeah, that's what that, a letter says in here too about.
Let's see, were there waivers?
There are no waivers.
We just need to review for completeness. So is just reading the plan, you're Dean. You're Dean.
No, I'm his wife.
His bride.
Yeah, he emailed me earlier today,
Okay,
and they're both co-owners of Joe Bean LLC.
so you're an
so-
authorized
Yeah.
agent and representative.
Yeah.
She's the boss.
Matter of fact, I think she's the, she's the boss.
I was gonna jump to that conclusion, but yeah.
That's why he's home and in bed.
So if the board wants to make a motion regarding the completeness of the application,
Make a motion to approve the, to recognize completeness for this application, which is
P 21-32.
to 321-32, yeah.
do I have
I'll second that.
got seconds?
Right.
Any further? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? No. All right, now we can move on. I guess I didn't see, were the fire department comments in here or?
Yeah, they said you gotta move some smoke detectors around. That's about
Depending
it.
on the petitions.
But at the time, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard you correctly, they have not seen this plan where there's the potential of two separate usages within the space.
Right, but that other side isn't being talked about, I guess,
Yeah,
right
that
now
would,
at this
I think
point.
their
That would
concerns
some
would
other
show
point.
on that and they'd address it when something happens. Well, if it's office, we're approving office retail tonight.
Right.
So they won't come back if it fits the bill as
And
office
it's,
retail.
and
Right,
they
but-
already said they're just gonna move smoke detectors
Right.
around.
Right,
Right, but where you may have two separate occupants, you may require a fire separation between those two. So,
Well, it should be a 5/8 firewall on each side.
yeah, whether it's
That's
1
code.
hour or 2 hour, I don't know what
That, well, that's 2 hour with 5/8 and 5/8.
5/8 on each side.
that's actually a 1 hour.
No, that's 2 hours, because you got 5/8, 1 hour, 5/8, 1 hour.
Okay, we'll let the fire department go through the assemblies. Trust me, I know them. But yeah, so that may come up at some point that there may, once an occupant comes to that other side, that may become an issue. And is there a fire alarm in this building? Do we know existing?
Is a hardwired.
Hardwired smokes and that's pretty much
And
it.
they
So,
should be CO detectors as well these days.
yeah.
Greg put them in.
Yeah, Greg would do it. Yeah.
But it's not an addressable system.
No.
So.
The only thing, have we voted on the completeness yet?
Yes, we did.
Okay, I'm sorry. The only thing I can see is when I used to frequent the site when it was a restaurant, on this parking lot side, there should be some wall packs or something because it's quite dark on that side of the building at night.
So lighting, just some,
Yeah, just,
yeah,
something on the
Yeah,
corner of
yeah.
the building, down lighting
yep.
and on what side of the building?
on the parking lot side.
Facing the parking
Okay.
lot.
Is there only one existing light?
Well, there's one
Currently,
lights
like,
over each
in
of
the
the
middle?
doors.
All right,
And it shows it right there on the yellow print that we gave, just have here.
Yeah,
Above the 3 feet of the door peaks, there's a light there. That's all there is on the side of the building.
you're right. So we're in that photograph right there where that SUV or minivan is parked is the dark park spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this whole side is quite dark.
Right in between. So there's just a little light over each door.
Oh, all right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's met the code of a light over a door
Right.
or within a near a door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you also have to, you have to have minimum 1 foot candle out in the parking lot as
Right.
well.
Yeah, and it's quite dark there at night,
Yeah.
especially this time of year when it's dark at 4 o'clock.
Days are getting longer starting now.
Right.
Today, exactly. And also.
We're not gonna die.
Try to keep the
Sun's gonna
color
come
of the light at 3000 K Kelvin scale or less. You probably heard me crap on that earlier.
Mr. Chairman, if I may address a comment on the front page of the site plan. So up at the top left-hand corner, their request is to allow either the currently approved 40-seat restaurant use or a split chiropractor office / office retail use. So I think what Dean's concern was if he's currently has a use for a restaurant
He doesn't want
and
to
then
lose it.
the office comes into play, if at some point in the future, he wanted to turn it back to a restaurant. So I talked to John about it.
As long as he has the septic loading.
Yeah, and we figured that as long as it's not, more of an impact, that, if there was a restaurant to come back in and sort of the same impact,
Right.
that they would not have to come back for yet another amended site plan.
One
for
thing
a
that
restaurant.
would
That would
diminish
make
that,
sense.
we'd have to back away the sewage loading that comes out of this chiropractic center. Whatever that's loaded would have to be taken away from the 40 seats.
Yep.
But I don't think you're gonna put 40 seats in a 600 square foot space.
No,
Right.
no, I think the clarification there is either you're gonna have
Or
two
back
separate
up.
office functions or you're gonna have a restaurant.
Right.
But he doesn't want to lose the chance
Sure.
for doing either.
And he
or.
won't, because he has the septic loading already
Right, it's built for it.
calculated for
Yep.
that.
So I just wanted to just clarify that for Dean, because I know he was concerned about
At this
that.
point, he'll just be nicer to
Yeah.
his septic system.
It is nicer,
Yeah. Restaurants to just.
as you know.
Yeah.
And how many spaces, parking spaces would be intended to be dedicated to this 1,000 square foot chiropractor office?
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, it is in here.
Yeah.
It says
I
it
would
right
say
on
we
the
must
front
have a
page,
copy
and there's
of
no
that.
right
print,
here,
14
is that right?
spaces.
5. No, that's for the
That's
bakery.
for the
sorry.
entire building, though.
No,
Oh,
wrong one. No,
or
that's the
6
wrong one.
spaces.
Yeah. Way parking. Oh, there it is, restaurant. There's 14 spaces for the restaurant, so yeah.
Or 6 spaces. Chiropractic office,
Okay, yep.
retail,
Yeah.
1,000 square feet is 6 spaces.
Yep.
Okay, and that includes the doctor as well? And
Yeah.
Yeah,
staff
it's
and.
one per 300 square feet, I believe, right?
Yeah.
We do
So,
have overflow up here too.
yeah, right along that whole side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
That's what that is.
yeah. I feel there's plenty of parking there.
Yeah, just as this is getting developed, I think that parking is becoming more and more of an issue, especially with that, the urgent care.
yeah, so we've been liberal with them, letting them park there, but they're supposed to park in this overflow. But there was no one in there.
Right, yeah, so,
But they're supposed to park down here for their overflow.
because they make people wait in their car and they
Yeah.
text you.
Yeah, yeah, been there. Yeah, I get worried about that, the parking issue overall, because it is getting really busy in that one little area, which is great, but.
How many employees are you planning?
It's just myself right now.
Okay, so let's say you and an office person, that's 2 spaces, and there'll
And
be
I'm
3.5
not-
spaces.
Volume or anything,
Yeah.
so I'm not having
Be
a lot
3.5
of people in at
spaces for the
once.
1,000 square feet, so 6 is more than enough.
Yeah.
Plus the overflow.
Right.
So I just had just that one thing that I pointed out to Denise earlier was the two conflicting hours of operation, and I wasn't sure which set of hours you were going with.
Yeah, probably the evenings during the week till 9 and then the weekends till 7.
Okay, so it's in the ones that you wrote?
Yeah, or whatever. It's fine, whatever. I don't.
That you hand wrote on
Yeah.
there? Okay, so then
Fine.
maybe
Or
either
if
take
Dean-
off that
Either
other
way.
section or just have that, fix that area.
Okay. It was on- no. I guess Dean, I didn't realize he had written.
Oh my God, could he write it any smaller?
It was down here, I
You
think,
want to borrow my
somewhere.
glasses? Oh, you got them on. You know, those engineers.
We can just leave it as Dean had written it 7 to 9 and he had typed it on 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Keep it consistent.
Monday through Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or more commonly known as 7 days a week.
It's
Okay, so you want to take
90
off.
hours a week?
No.
She's a worker.
We went to the same school.
Yeah, you're gonna have a cot in there as well?
It's mainly if there's workshops or something that I do at evening for the patients or something like that, just to have the.
Okay. All right, board have anything else? Any public comments?
Homestead Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. All right, close the public session. Board. Go accept it. What's that? You need a motion? I'm looking for a motion.
Wait, before you motion.
Oh, before a
active and
motion.
Substantial development.
Wow. How do you?
Yeah, when you
What are you gonna put the petition
tackling
on?
this,
That's all you gotta do.
Well, signage maybe.
Yeah, well, let's give this, say 12 months. I mean,
Oh, he's got it.
For what? For,
For lighting and signage.
yeah,
Oh, for
lighting
lighting.
signage?
Oh,
All that
yeah,
stuff, yeah.
that's funny. Yeah,
And that's really the only.
that's the only thing that really needs to be done.
yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve case P21-32, residential commercial site plan for the Pezzo property at Homestead Place with conditions precedent and subsequent, I'm having a hard time with that word, subsequent conditions.
second. Seconded by Virgil. Any further discussion?
Gosh.
Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank
Any
you.
opposed?
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you so
Merry
much.
Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Good luck. Someone.
This letter came back.
35,
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
135.
Still here?
So we got a chiropractor's office
Oh,
down at the
continue.
bottom
Good.
of Rollins Hill and we're.
Wow, we're getting close.
Well, I'm reaching the age where I think that's a grand idea, having
Oh,
as
so
many
do I.
chiropractors as you can.
How you doing on your unit?
I go to 2 now.
Forrest will finish tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm Thursday.
I think it's a.
That's what I heard.
Next, the next case
That's
was
what I heard.
P20. All right.
All right, boys.
Boss told me.
Hey,
he's gonna-
we're almost at the end, almost there. So the case P2135, Brad Jones said applicant had requested continuance until our next meeting, January 18th. That's it with our cases for tonight. So now we can get on to other business, old business. So Jessica has put together a warrant article for to get the master plan consultant.
Yep, so
To
this
work with-
is,
Yeah.
this is the same thing we looked at the last meeting. That there were some questions on with the language about the sum coming out of the unassigned fund balance. So it was just sort of recommended to leave it the way it is, and then it can be discussed at the Board of Selectmen as to how they want to fund this.
They have
Sorry.
plenty of
I'm sorry,
funny
it's a
money.
late night.
They have all kinds of funny money.
So it's okay for the board to approve it as is,
And
and the
then-
selectmen can change that depending on how
Right.
they want to fund it.
Way they like to handle it.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the warrant article for a master plan consultant and recommend it to the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Excellent. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I didn't think so. Item B, master plan committee updates.
What I can tell you is that we're actually working on the text of the master plan. We've got looking for some volunteers to help out with things. I met with Carol Divity
Oh, excellent.
yesterday. She's had worked done work with New Jersey Audubon, so she'll be good for the natural resources section. I'm trying to get some other people involved so that, new blood into the whole thing.
Fresh blood.
I've been appointed as chair of the committee because Bob is not feeling well. And Kelly Sullivan is the vice chair. Anyway, so our plan is to start working with Tara to start drafting all the chapters up through this next quarter. And then we'll have public input and meetings. They'll see drafts and things like that. So the idea is that we'd have something finished by the fall. With that, and there'll be stages for public input all the way along. So it's not going to be done and say, hey, this is all baked. It's not going to be like that.
Great.
Yep.
Then we had the invoice for $900.
Yep.
And that's really just for the record.
Just for,
And then we added item C
Yes.
to review the recommended planning or as planning zone consultant.
Here we go. Take a look at that.
Slow down, slow
I
down.
just
She wants to go home.
Worked on this.
She only got to go downstairs.
That's right.
She's staying
Hold
here.
down
tonight?
that Murphy bed.
Okay, so the reason why you have this second proposed warrant article is this stems from actually several conversations that we had about getting some assistance with drafting up the ordinances for potentially a short-term rental, an open space subdivision, the cabin / sort of cottage colonies. Excuse me. So it was suggested to reach out to Tara, since she's done such a great job with helping us with the master plan,
Oh, she can do this too?
in hopes. Sweet. Right, so this amount,
Sure.
yeah, so this amount comes as sort of a ballpark estimate of how much it would cost to assist us with all three of those changes.
That's wonderful.
And she would attend via Zoom.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, I don't like to assume.
You know how it's spelled,
a lot
right?
of anything. Right, that if it was sort of 5,000 or less, I wouldn't have to put that out to bid. And I think
Right, you
I think that's where that stands.
can, town administrator can approve that.
We don't belong to any committees that can help us write these, any organizations.
Well, we're not a
like
member of Lakes Region Planning
municipality,
Commission.
DRA.
Right, so.
That's a good point, though.
The
I
only one
just
you
hate
probably
keep
use
going into
is,
this unassigned fund balance, paying for everything, and we end up, when it comes time to pay the tax bill up there, we ain't gonna have it in the account. Because almost every one of these warrant articles is unassigned fund balance.
Yeah, but you got to look at it too this way, Virgil. I mean, this woman is incredibly smart.
And I'm not saying
experienced.
she ain't. I'm saying that you keep going into the unassigned fund balance we're not gonna have enough to pay bills. And
Yeah.
every warrant article seems to have, because they love to put this unassigned fund balance and not out of taxation. And you're taking away from the voters a true vote. Because when people see, oh, it's not coming out of taxation, it's automatic, yes.
Yeah.
But it is coming out of taxation because you're taking it out of the unassigned fund balance that we use to pay the tax bill.
Yep.
Right, and like we discussed with the other one, by all means, that's up to the selectmen to decide at that, at that point, once it gets to your level, then of course you can decide however it gets funded.
Right, exactly.
I also think
Plus Morris-
sometimes you got to look at
Plus
these
Morris
things for,
Still alive?
Oh, Jesus, yes.
Is it?
That's for this building.
That's for the maintenance of this building, not tomorrow.
That's all it is? I thought it was about to do other things.
No, there's other accounts in there for doing different things.
but I think sometimes you got to look at some of these things as what's going to be my return on investment, and $5,000 for the kind of guidance this person can provide us is priceless.
How did we get along so far, all these years? By putting our heads together and figuring them out.
Yeah, we're into some.
I mean, everybody's gonna take shortcuts. I mean, how do you think these ordinances were first made?
And we've had to go through and tweak them and tweak them and
Yeah,
tweak
after
them.
years.
Yeah, wasn't when.
From the
wasn't just
70s.
Not too long ago was whether or not we should join the Lakes Region Planning Commission,
Well-
but it was a dollar thing. People didn't want to pay.
No, you had a selectman that totally fought against it
That's right.
because, well, he was one of them, but totally fought against because they didn't like Lakes Region Planning because they thought that they ran the town and we had to do what they said.
No, God, no.
Oh, well, I know, and I tried to explain
There
that.
was some
Yeah, but-
untruths said
Yes.
regarding that relationship, but let's focus on this before us. And, does the board, feel this is written well and want to move this on to the selectmen?
Make a motion to move it on to the selectmen. Planning and zoning consultant, recommended article.
I'll second that. I would like to have the selectmen though, review how they want to fund it.
Yeah.
If it's a.
Well, they
concern.
can do that anyway. I mean,
Right.
that's their purview.
So, let them have their language is flexible enough that they want to take it out of.
Or take it out
Joe's
or vote
account.
it out.
Yeah.
Oh, we threw out a few of them the other night.
Well, it seems to me that if you think it's that important, that we should give them something they could. Like he says, I mean, are we involved with somebody else who are already paying that could
No,
do this? I know you think she's the cat's meow, but.
Yeah, I mean,
She's
We
the cat's
belong-
meow, but when you send it up to them, they kick it out, so now you're nowhere.
yeah.
And we belong to a lot of these organizations. We pay a lot of dues every year.
Tons of them.
And that's what I'm saying, is a lot of these organizations will do this.
well, the New Hampshire Municipal Association is one, right?
Mhm.
We can't assign this to them. They wouldn't, that's not something that they do. What else do we belong to that would?
Yeah, I
work?
guess I'm not familiar with all of the.
I
Lakes
can't
Region
think of
Planning
it.
Commission would probably be the best avenue. wouldn't it?
LRPC would
There for
be,
us.
that's what they're there for.
I mean, we can use them, it just would cost money.
Or,
That's $5,000.
or
right.
put a warrant article in to rejoin them.
Yeah, I'm all for that, because those dues were only like $4,000 or $5,000 a year, weren't they? They
Yeah,
weren't that
cheap.
bad.
They were
Yeah.
cheap and.
I think
and-
it was more than that,
Was it?
like 6
Yeah.
or 7.
it was
Yeah, but it's still
pushing-
worth
Yeah.
it because they're there
Well,
when
I'm
we
just-
need them and
yeah.
they do a lot of good work.
Right.
No, I agree.
I mean, it was twisted that you do what they say and you couldn't get it through that ain't how it works. You just take what you need out of it.
But I
You
think for this purpose, for right now, I think why don't we get it done this way, the way she's recommending? And then I would be fully supportive of getting to LRPC again.
Yeah, I would
I
too.
would too.
Yeah.
So now you want both of them?
No,
Well,
but.
no, 'cause
we'll
let's do it this
solve
way.
This problem this way. and
It's,
then-
it's getting close to the point that something wouldn't get on the ballot for Lakes Region Planning Commission.
Why?
Well, the time's starting to run out.
I know, but if you write an article and put it in,
Yeah, I said, but getting the wheels to turn to get it done, I question that. I
We
mean,
don't have
I'd be-
another meeting between now and when they're due.
because then you're off another whole year.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Exactly. But the Board of Selectmen, I mean,
I
I guess we
believe
could
the
give
Board of
them a
Selectmen-
recommendation that we think they'd be worthwhile to be there, and I'd be more than happy to make a motion to that effect. But it's the selectmen that have, unless we want to put a petition article in by somebody, but that's, not. any
Because
good
I
either.
believe correct me if I'm wrong, it's the selectmen that paid for that dues,
That's correct.
right?
Came out of the general
That's
budget.
that's how it ended up getting canceled through that office.
Yep.
And a lot of work they'll do for free.
Right. And I feel like at this time,
Oh, I think
especially,
you're
Well,
right.
what with your dues.
I think they're a great asset.
They are. I mean, they've already done a lot of work in Alton before we gave them the boot.
And
Sure.
believe it or not, and I said this the other night at the meeting, that we should rejoin them because they would help with GIS and all that.
Right.
For the mapping the roads and stuff that we're doing to get everything on computer.
Yep.
right, and being a member
All
puts us
departments
at a
were so
higher
happy with
priority
GIS.
for the 10-year plan as well.
So
GIS is so important to get that instituted fully.
would you like me to ask the select board Monday? Because I can have Ryan write it.
Well,
Well, I tell you what, we have a motion and a second on
then we'll deal with
this.
that just after this.
Yeah.
Let's have this as a stopgap and then I'll make a motion for LRPC. See.
So, all right. So any more comments on this? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Virgil against? Okay. All right. And so going slightly out of order, but very related, the planning board in general consensus that we would like to ask the select board to pursue a warrant article to rejoin the Lakes Region Planning Commission.
I will second that.
I didn't know that was a motion, but okay.
I'll so move and then you can.
Okay.
say.
I'll second. There you go.
All right.
And Virgil, you're gonna handle that?
Yeah, I'll
Bishop?
bring it up to the board Monday night.
Okay. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Excellent.
And make sure you tell the board that's unanimous
Yeah.
by us.
All right. Let's see. Next on the list was.
Let me just add this one thing. Sorry to interrupt, but Jess, you probably should get an idea of what our dues will be if you can get a hold of someone before Monday. So Virgil can have an idea of what the cost factor to that is.
Just put them in my
I think
drawer
it
up
goes
there.
by our evaluation, but I'm not sure.
All right.
And it's gonna be real expensive.
I have.
Yeah, I know.
Probably hit us with a fine for dropping out this second or third time we've gone out of it.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. Approval of meeting minutes. October 19th and November 16th.
They look good to me, but I'm not a good judge of that.
I'll be honest, I did a quick scan. I didn't really dig deep.
I read through them. They're
Wow, what
they're
was that
quite
that just flew
accurate.
by?
Okay, make a motion to approve both those minutes, the 19th and the
Second.
Seconded by Scott. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Obviously, a lot of discussion this night. 16.
All right, correspondence for the board's review. We have our new 2022 meeting schedule. We also have to discuss and vote on the application or approve the application from Jill Hauser.
Yep.
Very nice lady. I know her. She had a professional job. I think in the government, she's pretty sharp.
It was over near the Gilmore
Across the street
Pond.
from the gals that used to own the campground up on
Right.
Roberts Knoll, right
Can-
across the street.
Can you guys just motion to approve the meeting schedule first before you move
Oh,
on?
we have to approve our meeting schedule? I thought that was
It
etched in
says approve.
stone.
No, the ZBA approved
I'll
their
move to approve
section
it.
on December 2nd.
Why do we approve our meeting schedule if
We
we already
always-
have,
Yeah, we're the third Tuesday of the month, right?
Yeah.
and it's
It's-
already in the book and stuff? I mean, this don't make sense that we have. to
Let's let
approve it.
like Jessica sleep good tonight.
I don't know why. Ever since I've been here, you guys have approved the meeting schedule.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry, motion by Scott, second,
Second.
seconded by Virgil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent.
We all
How
said
easy
no,
that
Jess.
was.
We all said no.
I'll
Jess,
move
what
to
do we do?
approve Jill Hauser as a master plan.
We don't have
committee
meetings.
Let's not go there. Hey, wait a minute, what?
I move to approve Jill Hauser as a master plan committee member, at a
Okay.
citizen, as a citizen member.
Citizen member, yeah. Yeah, she came.
No night
that in.
meetings.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move that letter.
Yep.
Yep. Drew Carter and Russ Weiler up for reelection.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole bunch of people signing up, you know.
Oh, I bet there are. Just like a root canal.
Thank you.
Everybody's anxious to have one.
Yes, so I will run again.
Russ?
So,
No, I'm done. Done it for 6 years. So that's good enough in this town.
We'll miss your expertise.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
So
I'll still
you'll,
be on conservation, but
you'll be with us until March? You'll go? over
actually through the February meeting because the March.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's an election
right.
before them.
Depends if we write them in or not.
Yeah. That's how I got to be on this board. Right.
Right.
I think it was 3 votes got me in.
Right.
I was one.
I was in St. Thomas and someone says, I didn't.
No,
know
you know,
were on
I
the planning
was
board."
on
says, "I'm
the,
not."
I've been on a planning board for almost 25 years now, so between different towns. I think I've done enough.
Yeah,
You
you
done,
paid
you
your
paid
dues.
your dues.
It's fun.
All right, so the next item under correspondence was a memo Ridge Road site walk. What the heck's that?
Ridge Road up off Fort Point Road.
Yeah.
Now, may I say something about that?
Yeah, you sure can.
I'm sure you will.
And not do sidewalks.
Huh?
It is illegal to do sidewalks right now. No board in town can do sidewalks until we pass the warrant article. Because it constitutes a meeting.
Well, we take notes and everything on it.
Doesn't matter.
Really?
We have they found an old vote that was voted on that all meetings have to be held in town buildings, which you cannot do a site walk and have your members there because that constitutes a meeting outside the town buildings. And until this warrant article is passed,
To clean it up. Yeah. Okay.
that's right. You can't do it. It's illegal.
Oh, that's interesting.
So be it.
Yeah, we ran into this in the old home week committee.
Yep.
Wow.
The senior center wasn't available.
And you can't have the meeting.
We did it. I don't know,
Some other place.
some other place.
At the bar.
Years ago, they were holding meetings. When this was passed, they were holding meetings. They had one at the bar. They had one over at the Legion when it was over here, and they passed that to stop it.
Yeah.
What they didn't realize is what it actually constituted.
Right.
And to that point, this is why you would want to bring specialists and experts in on creating the rules and regulations for things like the cottage homes and all that stuff. Because we're not expert enough to know what we might be missing.
Well,
Unintended.
I think you're wrong because we've wrote these articles for years and years and years with the people that live in this town.
Right.
And I think we've done a pretty damn good job of doing it. It takes some time, but I think we've all done a pretty good job of doing all
I
this
can
stuff.
see how that came about
Oh, absolutely.
because the old days when they were only
It was-
selectmen.
Right, they would meet in the garage.
Yep.
And have a meeting without the public present, and they would pass things and do things and get rid of people and everything else that it was totally illegal.
Interesting.
Until that warrant article passed, they were allowed to do it.
Very
I'll tell you, they
interesting.
had a fair amount of them at Half Moon Store,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because my father was on
Did I
the
skip
board.
over the space needs?
Those workers.
Jess is
they
ready.
will
That's
whoop
the
the
last
store.
thing on the agenda.
And at the end,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's one more thing on
So,
the
yeah,
agenda.
so under any other business, we have the CIP committee and the master plan committee gone through and they've spoken to every department in town, what they could use to make their working environments better. And there's a great summary that's been done with a kind of a proposed timeline for achieving these goals. So I don't know if everybody's had a chance to look through that, but it was actually,
Yeah, so they took all the input you got from all the department heads. Said, if you were gonna do these things, here's a pro forma look at the calendar, how it might look, gives you something to think about anyway.
yeah, kind of, I mean, yeah, because it's a 20-year outlook.
Yeah.
Um,
And they had some good
By rights
ideas
should
about
be on
how,
CIP.
how things might
Yeah.
fit together, how about, facilities would be
Used to be
swapped.
7 years. Now we dropped it to 6.
Yeah.
Right, good stuff.
So
Well, I
the-
think they're out looking at it, and they know that we've already outgrown most of the buildings. So we gotta start getting money put aside.
Oh, and it's gonna be ugly money.
Well, I know, but we're gonna have to have it,
Yeah, I know you're gonna have to. have
Harsh
it, but-
reality.
or bond it for,
Yeah.
50 million. Should be the garage.
Yeah.
So the purpose of it being on the agenda tonight for a discussion with the board is in the hopes to get some sort of recommendation from the planning board to the Board of Selectmen to start, reviewing all of the comments that were submitted and to sort of start that ball rolling of, what is it that the selectmen plan on doing or, sort of.
Yeah, because they really need to be part of this because
Absolutely. So
I thought we
my.
already turned it over to the select.
Not yet. So this is this discussion.
Right.
So that I can get some input from you guys as to say, at planning board meeting in December, this is what the planning board, recommends to the selectmen to, view all of the input from all the department heads and their building needs.
And the summary from the CIP.
Yes, in the summary that was done up.
Yeah.
Sort of business proposal type of thing.
So this is different than the CIP plan.
Well, this is gonna be added into
Correct.
CIP.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
eventually.
like the long.
Yeah, this will have to be kind of feathered into
Yep.
the CIP.
that years ago, they looked at taking the property behind us by eminent domain and putting a catwalk between the two buildings and building another office building behind us
there,
here. Because they didn't want to attach it to this building because of the historical nature
Right.
of it. But they wanted a catwalk to go between them.
And then again, we put a whole bunch of money aside for sewer too.
Yeah, $300,000 and that built the landfill.
Well, we need to dump better.
Right, and I believe Ruben was tasked at some point to create a buildings committee. So we thought at least this gives him a good start, start to go on and then he can do however he wants to handle the committee.
Well, I think it's gotta be added into CIP sooner or later.
Absolutely.
We've got to start putting money aside for this so we don't get
Right.
whacked.
How was
Yep.
Farmington's municipal sewer system dealt with?
What do you mean?
Where does it go?
Goes over to the old dump.
In Farmington?
Watson Corners, you go up there and take a right into the old dump.
So
Over to
they have a septic system up
Cardinals-
there?
Arthur's old pit. No, they got a waste treatment plant in there.
They do.
And Arthur's old pit.
But it goes,
At the Cardinals?
it's a ground disposal. It doesn't go to
Well,
yeah.
Really sandy up in there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Just after the bridge or just before the bridge, one or the other.
yeah, you go in just before the bridge, you take the right.
Yeah,
The-
but
the
by the time
nasty-
it gets through that waste treatment plant, I mean, it's
Well,
pretty clean.
It's supposedly potable, but I'll let you taste it
Yes.
first.
Right after him.
Okay.
well,
So,
Okay.
I could say something
so,
about
so
waste treatments.
we're at the point that you are requesting that the planning board move this to the selectmen for review and potential action.
Right. It's recommended by the CIP committee and.
So moved.
And the master plan committee.
Having read through it, I think it's a good starting point. Some thought's been put into it.
Yeah.
That's the point of it,
it.
is to get things started.
Yeah.
It may turn out to be different, but you gotta get
It's
started.
by the residents, so it has meaning.
Well, I think it's gotta go out to the residents, I think.
Yeah, well, they've already done some of these.
But this is all input from
This
department.
is
head.
from
Oh,
department
okay.
heads,
Every
yeah.
department
department
head.
heads and what they think we need and what they need.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at
there
least
may
it
be
can
some
start the
filtering
discussion.
needed still,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure the selectmen,
Right.
that's their job to filter
Yes,
through
okay.
Right.
the unnecessary
Possible for
stuff.
you to make me 4 more copies of it? And
So
I'll
I
hand
was-
them out at the meeting Monday.
I was on the CIP committee
Yeah.
and I sat here while they all, the department heads came in. And, the police department came in, they were fine with what they had.
That's right.
The fire department, they want more. the highway department wanted more. So I think, see, I haven't read that
That's,
thick there, but I think Pat O'Brien wrote up the things that.
He
in
did,
this thing
and that's
here.
included, that's
Yeah,
sort of the cover sheet to the whole building.
but what it
needs
is,
section.
Roger, is they are okay right now. But CIP's looking 10, 15 years down the road. But we gotta
Right.
start putting money aside now to be able to get grants and stuff for this help.
Exactly, and that's my
Right.
point, because you look at Pat's, he's got dates in his, and that doesn't,
Oh, yeah.
that's not 10, 15 years down the road. They want to.
They're just impatient.
They want it yesterday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
They
It's,
wanted it
it's
yesterday.
something, right, but at the same time, it's, you gotta have some dates so that you can say, nope, you know what, that's too early, let's do this.
And
So
the fire
it's a
department's
point
been
of
pretty good on the
discussion, I
gravy
guess.
train right now. They've gotten a lot of stuff lately down there.
You wouldn't have thought so after our meeting. They come in and yelled at us.
Really?
Oh, we went to a 15-minute, 20-minute speech about how we're rotten. That we don't stand behind them and
Can we go back to the vote? So
Yeah,
Scott,
so
I
you
made a
moved
motion.
I heard a motion. I have not heard a second yet.
second.
before we get lost.
We have a
Okay.
second from Virgil. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So.
I'm kind of half on the fence, I don't know.
Well, which fence are you
Well,
on?
it's just that I want specifics, I don't want to just.
Well,
stand up and say,
you'll
yeah,
get the Pacific, you'll get all the specifics of it
Specific, that's a tough one too.
when the CIP sets it all up.
Right,
Well, that's what I want, I want it to go to the CIP, I don't want.
That's where it's going.
right. So
We
it
just have
came
to say,
from,
okay, get it in
yeah.
the CIP.
it came from CIP and sort of master plan. So since they're just committees, they recommended it to the planning board.
Right.
So now that it's discussed at the planning board, now the planning board can recommend it to the board of selectmen.
Selectmen, and we say,
It's chain
yes,
of
go
command.
for it.
Yeah,
So I
And
want
it
the
goes
planning
back
board
to
to
the-
And then it
recommend
can
it
come
to the
back.
CIP committee.
right.
Well,
It'll
That'll
go
be the
back. to
selectmen
us.
will do that.
We'll send it back to CIP with everybody saying, you
But
know,
the
Right.
selectmen have to decide that they even want to go in this direction.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
You know?
Because this is, your fire station alone is probably gonna be $4 or $5 million bucks. maybe.
Oh, anyways.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyways,
And which is absurd that things cost like that, but it is what it is.
Ski lift.
we're figuring with a full building,
Really.
with the full building and stuff, we're figuring somewhere around 25, 30 million. We've discussed it and stuff. By the time you
You're
get
probably not
highway,
far off.
well, by the time you get highway,
Right.
police, fire,
It's harsh.
you know, what I mean, you're looking at a pretty good sized
Right.
building.
You didn't vote on that yet?
We-
First
No, we
and
did.
second, you voted?
Yeah, it was.
Sorry.
You.
Roger's on the
Way too long
fence.
of a night.
It was unanimous.
Yeah, it was, oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
unanimous
sure.
except for Roger was riding the
Oh, that's
fence.
right, sorry. Still riding the
So
fence?
at this point, public, anything? Seeing no public, I will entertain one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
I'll second that.
all those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Merry
See you
Christmas.
next
Merry
year.
Christmas, everybody.
See you in January.
Hey, Verge, on your way down, fold her bed out for her.
And all that.
All right.
Yeah.
Made it.
Made it.